morning, everybody. How you doing? It's noontime now, I think, for a lot of you. But welcome on in and join the chat. Grab your coffee, your tea, whatever your advice might be. Let me know if you can hear me okay in the chat. I just got my mods in here with me, it looks like. Can y'all hear me? Y'all let me know. Ah. Good morning. Good morning, Dolphin. Welcome in. Sound is good for us. Thank you. Hey, Ski, Utah. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, an arrest has finally been made in the Celeste Rivas case, but what's the problem over there? I'm not convinced we're going to have. It's not a done deal yet. Something's going on over there, a little fishy. So he was arrested, but he has not been formally charged yet. And it was not by grand jury indictment. Although one's been impaneled for a while trying to indict the guy, and they couldn't get there. So, interesting. What happened, right? So, yes, guys, come on in, welcome in. A lot was happening yesterday after I ended the live. Like a lot was happening all at one time, and I was like, "Whoa, I got to go sit outside in the fresh air and research all this and figure out what's going on." So we don't have a lot of information yet, other than David was arrested. We do know that it was not by grand jury indictment, and the DA's office will probably decide on Monday about formal charges. The problem is, are these charges going to stick? How much evidence do you have against this guy? If you couldn't get a grand jury indictment, what? Or I don't know. They know, obviously, that Celeste was murdered, but who did it? Where's the evidence of who did it? So I don't know how this is going to play out. We do have a little news clip from the local media there in Los Angeles. Now, I do know that he was arrested at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and he was booked into the county jail like around 10-12 p.m. and no bond. Now, his attorney has also spoke out, and we'll take a look at that in just a second. And of course, we're going to discuss these hairs found in the Nancy Guthrie home, or a hair. We're not sure. 1 hair, 2 hair, 3 hair. Don't know where it was found within the home either. But we'll get to that in a minute. All right, let me get my... I went over there with me. We had a little... It was fun because you get to decompress crime, and the Nancy Guthrie case has kind of made our minds go crazy, and it was a nice relief. I just got to go be a chatter for a change. It was fun. Trivia Thursdays over on Nerdy Addicts channel. Always a good time. All right. Let me get... So, breaking news out of Los Angeles. And I did see some photos on Twitter of the cops moving into wherever the house is he was staying at or whatever. And they had that thing Maureen likes to talk about, they used to ram the doors with. They had one of them things in their hand ramming a door. I was like, oh shit, they're coming in hot. Okay, so this is a breaking news piece out of California, out of LA.
Your breaking news right here at 5:30. You might recognize this picture. That's singer David. The LAPD just announced that they have arrested him for the murder of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. The 21-year-old singer, whose real name is David Burke, has been at the center of the investigation since her body was found in a Tesla last September. Police say David's being held without bail. The case will be presented to the district attorney's office on Monday for filing consideration. We will be following this breaking news and have updates throughout the night. That's been a big story we've been following.
For filing consideration, are we going to do straight up murder, manslaughter, accidental death, freaked out and What do we, it's going to be crazy. I don't, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I'll be honest with y'all. If they couldn't return a grand jury indictment, I don't know if these charges will even stick. It's um, pretty wild. Let me pull up the statement from his attorney. I think Lauren Conlon was able to reach out and they gave her a statement. Let me pull her up here on the twits. On the twits. Okay, let's see. Go down to it. Oh, she put something an hour ago. Let's see what. Oh, Steve Fisher's. Steve is like, finally. What is this? Let's look together, guys. Let's review together. All right. So an hour ago, she's posting on Twits. What changed in the David investigation? Why was he arrested on suspicion of murder now? I don't know what they got to say. Let's listen.
Here is going back to what Steve said. Whoa, I'm staying away, or that's what it seems like to me. But I think the big question here is going back to what Steve said. I mean, this arrest reportedly is based on probable cause at this point. So what changed? What piece of evidence came forward now that they didn't have 7 months ago? That's what I'm asking myself.
That's fair.
Whoa, I'm
See, like that, it's not making sense. If you could have arrested that man, why haven't you already done it? If you had enough evidence to charge him, why hadn't you already done it? Well, there was also a big to do back and forth with the medical examiner on the cause of death. Like they couldn't determine what the actual cause was. That should have nothing to do with arresting this guy if they got evidence he put her in the car and did all these things, right? And all the whatever was found in the house. But let me get to where here's the photos, guys, of the police. And this second one here, that's where they have that ramming tool to bust through the door there. Doesn't show any actual pictures of David coming out. There they are, going to go ramming in. Cops on the street. Somewhere deep in them Hollywood Hills. Okay, so let me find where she posted about the attorney. It's just down a piece. There's his arresting information. Like I said, he was booked in at 5 p.m. And then at 10:12, he was booked into the county jail, actually, with no bond. That is a video. That's them putting him in handcuffs, guys. I didn't see that. That was from 12 hours ago. Yeah. It's not really a great video, though. Okay, so here it is. This is what she said. Okay. Breaking news, David's attorney, Blair Burke, just sent me this from, okay. David Burke's attorney, Blair Burke, Marilyn Bednarski, and Regina Peter issued the following statement. It says, let us be clear. The actual evidence in this case will show that David Burke did not murder Celeste Rivas Hernandez, and he was not the cause of her death. There has been no indictment returned by any grand jury in the case and no criminal complaint filed. David has only been detained under suspicion. We will vigorously defend David's innocence. Well, who the heck do they think did it then if he didn't do it? Did she die accidentally? And then he flipped out and done some dismemberment and put her in a Tesla? Because that's like tampering with a body and all that kind of stuff happens after the fact. He's guilty of something, they're saying, but before that, no. It's weird. I don't know what to make of it, guys. Those defense attorneys are filing to get discovery, right? We want the discovery and we want to know what you got against our client. That's the first thing any good attorney does. I want discovery and I want it now. What do you have on my client? How long has Celeste been deceased? Long time now. So you should have all your evidence together and ready to go, right? Where is it? That's what I would be saying as a defense attorney, because it worries me a little bit. This guy may not, what will happen at a trial? What kind of charges will come down on Monday? And how strong will they actually be? Will they be a manslaughter type charge? Murder one, murder two? Who knows? It's just wild that it's taken so long, isn't it? Yeah, Steve's had a lot to say. I'm sure he'll say more eventually. I didn't even check his Twitter to see if he was posting anything on it. To be honest with you, there was so much coming out that I was trying to keep up with. Um, Yeah, I mean, she was 14 years old. David's an adult. You had her in her, she was in your home. The guy knows something. His friends know something. It took him forever to get Neo to cooperate, or if he did, whatever he claims he did. I don't know. It got real messy, right? And I think there may be multiple people who know what happened to Celeste Rivas, honestly. At least two people, David and one other person. Who is it? Who's the person that was supposedly driving that Tesla around? Steve? Remember? You told us all about that. I wonder who that person was. I just don't know. Unless, David flipped out one night when just him and Celeste were home alone and he does all this to her, puts her in there, and nobody knew he did it. And they're just like, they come back around, they're like, hey, where's Celeste? He's like, I don't know. She took off again. They're like, okay, cool. What? I just don't know what to make of it. Um, it's worrisome that they are just now doing an arrest if they have hard evidence against the guy. What do y'all think? What do y'all think about it? Hang on one second. Oh, I just had to look at a message. Yeah, Dolphin, that's a crazy case. I saw a case this morning locally. We have another person that was found under another bridge, and it's a bridge I drive over all the time. But this man was found under the bridge, and when they identified the body, he was a missing man out of Louisiana. The last time he was seen leaving a traffic accident on the interstate, and then he turns up in my town under a bridge, deceased. But they also have reports that he was reported to have schizophrenia and bipolar disorder and had been listed as missing and endangered out of Louisiana. The Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office Major Crimes Unit, in coordination with the medical examiner's office, has been actively investigating the case, working to identify the individual. So they identified him, but I don't know how he ended up under the bridge. If he, went down there on his own, or if he met up with some nefarious people down there in downtown. Well, not even downtown, on the streets of Picola. Let me just say that. There are some areas you don't want to get off in. So I don't know what happened there, Dolphin, but I'm going to look into it. Now, TMZ did drop a little something about the David, and I don't even know if I want to play it, to be honest, because everybody's been telling me for months how shitty TMZ is, how we can't believe nothing they tell us. They are so stupid. They send themselves ransom notes, right? So I'm like, well, then I can't trust anything TMZ puts out anymore. Not one single solitary thing. No matter how good it is, I can't trust it and I can't believe it because everybody's done told me how dumb they are, and how irresponsible they are, and how they are faking these ransom notes. So why would I want to fuck around with a channel like that, right? Why would I even want to review or give them breath? Because y'all can think what you want, not y'all, but society, the general public, whatever. TMZ didn't write themselves any damn letters. South of the Border guy did that all on his own. The first two weren't exclusive to TMZ. But I'm going to play the TMZ clip because I just don't buy TMZ sending their self damn letters. And if y'all think TMZ is sending their self these ransom notes to get clicks and views, don't watch what I'm about to show you. That means you hate them. We can't sit one way today and one way tomorrow. Well, I guess you could. That's up to you, but I don't roll that way. Okay, I didn't even watch all of it because I just saw it right before we came on, actually. And I'm just curious as to what he says. Y'all take it all with a grain of salt. Just because I'm playing it doesn't mean you got to believe it, right? We're all adults. Do your own research. Make up your own minds.
problem in the prosecution's case against David the singer. Let me explain. The grand jury has been hearing this case for 5 months, since November. Beth Silverman, the DA, has been presenting witness after witness after witness to this grand jury to get a grand jury indictment. We know that there has been a dogfight between the DA's office and the medical examiner over cause of death that we are told and have been told for a long time after Celeste Rivas's body was found that they were having a very difficult time establishing cause of death. And that is an issue here. But then the question, if Beth Silverman was before that grand jury for 5 months with the end goal of getting an indictment for murder, why did the police arrest David yesterday and then say they're going to present the case to the DA on Monday so that the DA can determine whether to file formal charges or not? That makes absolutely no sense, because it was the grand jury that was supposed to indict here and not the DA just charging him. If the DA wanted to charge, what was the point of a grand jury? So what happened at the grand jury so that they either didn't indict him, that she never asked the grand jury to actually indict, or did the grand jury issue a no bill, which means they rejected the case?
If the grand jury rejected the case, we got a problem.
I don't think they would have rejected the case outright, although I don't know. But the only other option is that that Beth Silverman never asked for a formal indictment after presenting evidence for 5 months before the grand jury. So why? And the police say we're going to present the case to the DA. The DA's had the case for 5 months. What do you mean present the case? That makes no sense when you listen to what the police are saying. The DA has had this case. They're the ones that made the decision to go to the grand jury. So
the DA may have said screw the grand jury, but it takes less to get an indictment through grand jury, right? So if they spent 5 months before a grand jury and could not return an indictment, something is not right with this case, y'all. And how do you go to trial and say, we don't know the cause of death? You can do that, but you got to bring something to the table. Something's not right with the evidence against David. We've seen, how long we've been true criming, people? How long have we been true criming, right? How many times have we seen grand juries return indictments? Why hasn't this one? There's something wrong. And Danny Hall, I'm glad to see that, Shoes. I've been wondering where you've been. Welcome on in. But I'm not sure how to pronounce your new name, and I don't want to mess it up. It's crazy. But welcome in. Good to see you. I was wondering where you've been. I was reading that as he was talking here. Yeah, I don't know. What if the DA comes out Monday and they wouldn't go arrest David without the DA ready to file some sort of charge, would they? I don't know. The cops are like, you know what? That grand jury indictment ever came. We might as well go arrest this guy now, and we'll let the DA figure out if they can charge him or not. Something's not right with this case. There's something wrong. Lack of evidence is what it is.
Why is the DA doing this and deciding apparently to file charges rather than to get an indictment? So there could be several reasons. The one that comes to mind is that a grand jury indictment gets very specific as to why they're indicted.
There's a good chance the DA's office knew that LAPD was going to go arrest him. They work hand in hand with that kind of stuff. Do you got enough evidence to arrest that guy? Yes, we do. Well, then go do it. Right? I got a feeling the DA's office knew that arrest was going to happen. But I don't know what kind of formal charges they'll file. I will not be shocked if they do not charge him with murder 1. because of the lack of evidence against him being the one that caused her death. Y'all get what I'm saying? Why arrest him? I guess they feel like they got enough evidence, probable cause, to move forward. You can go to trial with just probable cause. You can win at trial against the defendant just on probable cause, but it's hard to convince a jury if that probable cause isn't super strong, right? What I wonder is if they will do a preliminary hearing on him. Once they hand down charges on Monday, whatever those may be, they should have to have a preliminary hearing after that, right? That's how it will work. And that's when we'll see, maybe, if they televise it or whatever they do, we might learn more about the evidence they do have during that process. We'll have to wait and see.
Fighting. And it may be based on the evidence that was presented that the DA is concerned that based on the way the grand jury would indict, it would leave a wide door open for the defense to come in and say, this is a deficient indictment in terms of proving the elements of murder. And the worry might be that a judge might dismiss the indictment.
Oh,
And I can't.
they didn't dismiss that indictment in Idaho. And before we got the preliminary hearing we were all waiting on, they popped off with a grand jury and got an indictment. Over here in California, we don't know what's going on. It's too much speculation about why. I'm just nervous about the evidence, I'll be honest, because the grand jury should have been able to return an indictment, and they didn't. That's a problem.
Can't really think of another good reason, other than if the grand jury rejected the case, for the DA to spend all that time before the grand jury and then to say, okay, now we'll just charge him. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. And,
Honestly, we get you, Harvey, we know. I'm going to troll around the streets and look for a couple of attorneys that might, the ones that I can tolerate. Let me just say that. The ones that I can tolerate, I may go visit their channels because I don't go into many YouTube attorneys' channels. I just don't. Occasionally I will, depending on what, it just depends. But I'd like to hear a couple of them's reaction to this. The ones that I trust, that I don't know. It's hard to explain it because I don't want to get into the weeds with it. But y'all know how we roll. You go where you want to get your information, but just because you go don't mean you like them a lot. I don't venture off into too many of the YouTube attorneys' channels anymore. They're kind of like doctors, a little arrogant, in my opinion. But there's actually one that I will go, and she's not even on anybody's radar, and I'll go check things out. But I will troll around because I want to hear what they think, because I'm telling y'all, something's not quite right with this. The only confusion I'm finding right now is why the grand jury didn't indict, and now why does the DA feel, now I got enough evidence to arrest you? That's what's happened here. Not enough to get a grand jury indictment, so I'm just going to arrest you on what I do have this little bit of probable cause. That's what's happened. What you need to worry about is, are those charges going to stick? And is it just a probable cause trial? We will know, hopefully we'll learn more when David's attorney files for discovery. That's when we'll find out something. Yeah, like I said, everybody can take TMZ with a grain of salt. I've been told how stupid they are, right? Like, I get you. I get it. I've always said I was born when they came out. TMZ was a tabloid TV type thing, turned into a little more. Everybody was cool with TMZ until they started getting some ransom notes in. Y'all take it all with a grain of salt. All he did was say the same thing I've already said. Something's wrong. Something ain't right over there in California. Covered too many cases. That grand jury indictment should have come down, and it didn't, and that's problematic. I mean, y'all have been around true crime a hot minute. Do y'all know how the grand jury stuff works, right? Yeah, Rachel, murder one could be difficult because how do they prove murder one? That's what I'm saying. There's something. I don't even know if the DA is quite. I wouldn't be shocked if she just put down a manslaughter charge on his ass just to get a conviction on that. But I don't know how they'll come out with the evidence on that. I got to wait on discovery, I guess, to pop off, and then maybe we can actually learn a little bit more. Because right now there's going to be a lot of speculation, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out. No grand jury indictment. We got a problem after all those months. Something's amiss. I don't know. I hadn't been watching TMZ to know what they've said. I just saw that little clip this morning. I'm almost going to stop playing TMZ, period, on my channel because nobody trusts anything they say right now. But I'll tell you what, when this David case first happened, everybody hung on every word TMZ said about David. Every single word. All the stuff they were digging up, people were there for it. I was just saying, y'all take everything with a grain of salt. Just because they got some ransom notes sent to them, they became the public's target of being fake people now. But turns out those first two were not fake at all. South of the border guy took it upon himself to send those TMZ emails. They didn't do it to themselves. That's ridiculous. You could get caught. Come on. They went all through the FBI. They even said they went through all our servers. They would know if TMZ sent that shit to themselves. And they'd be like, Harvey, what are you doing, you fool? I'm over it. All right, I'm going to move on because there's really not a lot there. He's under no bail. We really won't know more. This is Friday. We won't know more until Monday when the charges come down. And then we can try to get, discovery from his attorney, see what's going on there. There hasn't even been a formal press conference. Will there be one Monday, right? Once they hand down formal charges, will they do one then? The fact that she was found and evidence degraded and things of that nature was happening, it's going to be hard to prove. And I'm not saying the guy didn't did it. Y'all don't get me. Please don't take me wrong. This is law. We can't ignore the law in true crime. And if we aren't happy with the law, then start voting in your state and paying attention. Right? It's the law matters. And that's what I'm talking about here. I'm not getting in the weeds with the drama. There's something not quite right with this case. So don't be surprised if it doesn't go where we think it's going to go. That's all I'm saying. If y'all been in true crime a hot minute, y'all should know how this works with grand juries and how it's weird they didn't return the indictment. That's all I'm saying. It's because of lack of evidence. It's not rocket scientists. It's not. Now, moving on. Yeah, Harvey's an attorney, but people have a lot to say about him right now because they can't wrap their heads around people might actually send. We just went over in the Gannon stock case how they also received Bitcoin. So watch them if we believe they would do something like that, right? There's shit here ever again. It will just save myself a headache. All right, let's move on to the Nancy Guthrie case. Now, word salad sheriff. I can't rely on one single thing that man says. So don't come at me with, well, the sheriff said, because we don't care what the sheriff said. I don't. That man's words mean nothing to me at this point. The DA should already have what they think they can prove, right? They've been working on this case for so long. They're not scrambling over the weekend to figure out what we got and what we don't got. They already know. Why wait till Monday to file a formal charge? They already freaking know. They've had a long time to get it figured out and to sort through whatever evidence they have. I'm not giving them any courtesy at this point. They've waited far too long to make an arrest. You didn't get your grand jury indictment. Now you want to wait till Monday and drop some charges. And I'm not sure you got a case at this point. Looking at it from a legal standpoint, going to court, right? Right. Doug says, I feel like the DA is overplaying their hand, either looking to offer a plea or settle. That's right. I can get behind that thought process. Absolutely. Absolutely. Dolphin says most of the senior staff are attorneys. They know better than to do something so stupid than to do some stupid mess for one story. Exactly, Dolphin. It's like, how can people think that TMZ is mailing themselves those letters? That is not critical thinking, people. That's going into a channel somewhere and hearing it and running with it, right? That's what that is. Kind of like when we heard the guy at the porch was trying to cover up a camera with some vines. I'm like, well, I'm going to watch it for myself and see. I don't think that's what happened, but whatever. You know what I mean? That's like all those people they platformed to discuss the TMZ ransom letters. They do not clarify to those people the difference between the first two and south of the border guys. They're just like, blah, 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 a bunch of word salad for a fucking hour. And I'm like, oh my God. I want to go in there and say, could you please tell your panel to watch this and understand what you're actually talking about? Because they don't know, and you're not even trying to correct them. It's weird. It's weird. Yeah, we hadn't been going long. What is that, Morris Dog Mom? We hadn't been going that long. We just getting going. We don't know much about the Celeste case yet, and what kind of evidence they have, what charges will be filed. We will have to wait and see on Monday. What the hell? Somebody keeps trying to charge one of my cards like $1.99, and I don't know what the hell that is. I got to figure that out later. It's the second time that's happened. I have this thing on there though, and it won't pay them. Like, I don't even know what that is. What are they doing? What are they talking about? I bet you I got a subscription somewhere because I was looking at a case, and now I got to go unsub it. Huh. Okay. News broke yesterday about this hair in the Nancy Guthrie case being found in her home. I have concerns about the said hair. First of all, where was it found? Bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, living room, couch? We know it wasn't from the rug on the front door, right outside the front door. They didn't even take it. Where was it found within the home? And did you only find one, right? Where the hair was collected from is important to me. Remember, Nancy had guests in her home just days before this. So the hair could be from anybody at this point. Just because they found a hair doesn't mean they're about to find the guy, right? The guy at the door had a balaclava on. Did a hair fall off his balaclava? Did Nancy manage to get his mask off, which caused a hair to fling across the room? How do we know it came from the perp, right? We don't. And there's been a lot of word salad about this hair. Now, I'm going to refer y'all back to the Rex Heuermann case. There was a hair. First, let's go to Delphi. There was a hair wrapped around one of the dead victims in the woods that never got tested because the testing wasn't available back then. No follicle, no root, no testing, just comparison with other hairs. Rex Heuermann case comes along. Australia Labs had been working on the technology to develop the DNA from hair strands, rootless strands. They had a big old fry hearing in New York about the validity of that DNA testing, and it was allowed to come into court. would have been the first time ever used in the courts in New York against Rex Heuermann to prove those hairs came from his wife and daughter. I would love for them to go get that piece of hair from Delphi and test it now, since it was literally wrapped around the finger of one of the victims. Does it match Richard Allen? We've heard tale it matched the sister to one of the victims, but we don't fucking know. So in the Rex Heuermann case, they were able to bring that new DNA technology into the case, right? That's what's happening here. People are still wanting to be all big mad that all that went to the Florida lab and didn't go to the FBI and they got the better technology. Well, according to C.C. Moore, the FBI doesn't have the technology to test a rootless hair. And I'm inclined to believe her. So I wish the people reporting that would clarify some of that. You know, the FBI finally has what the sheriff wouldn't let them have and all this stuff. I saw reports by major media outlets about untangling DNA from the hair. What in the world did I just read? That's not how that works. I'm going a little nuts about it, y'all. I can't with some of these so-called mainstream we know it all reporters. One of you I got my eye on because you're putting out bad information, taking it back later, trying to be a Brian Enton, but you're so far from it, it's not even funny. And I will not name a name. Not until I'm ready. Y'all just be careful in them streets and watch certain mainstream media's posts. Just be real careful. Because 1 minute it might be there, and the next minute it might be gone. Why? Did you get some bad information from your source? Okay. That's why I rely on Enton's reporting. So let me take a look at this. Let me pull this up first. Okay. Will this hair turn out to be a nothing burger just like the glove from 2 miles away? That's what I wonder. How relevant is it even? Have they done a comparison and ruled out hair from Annie? Um, Known samples that should be in the home, right? Nancy's hair, of course, may show up in the home. Her daughter's may show up in the home. Her birthday celebration just a couple of days before that. It could be that we're there. That's we can't get super excited about a damn random hair found inside of a home. I can't. All right, let me pull up my article here. What I do with it? What I did with it. Let me get it here. And I heard that this hair, it's conflicting stuff coming out. I don't remember which article I read it in, but the first one I read, it said that hair was not collected day one, but once they went back into the house. And I thought, oh, please don't say that. That's a defense attorney's dream right there. But then I've read reports where it was found at the very beginning of the case, day one, right? So I don't know if it was found from the beginning of the case when they first went in, or if it was discovered during the second processing. I don't know. Uh-oh, if y'all are getting ready to come down to the Gulf Coast to swim in the Gulf of America, be careful, the jellyfish season is happening. They sting and they hurt. Nerdy posted about it. I just happened to see that. I'm trying to pull up my thing here. Give me a second. See, I can't come to the Twitters because then I'll start looking at other stuff. Oh, I know where I did with it. Okay, let me So I want to read you a part of this. Where'd it go? Come back here. You hated that when you lived in New Jersey? I didn't know you lived in New Jersey, Dolphin. Now I got questions. She's like, girl, shut up. Okay. Da 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 da. And we still don't know anything about that mixed DNA sample that they found in the home as to um, if they've made any headway with that, right? We wouldn't know, honestly. Maybe unless another source comes forward and says something about it. All right, I got to do this a different way. Let me. Oops. And people have noticed that Savannah's not on the Today Show this morning, but she wasn't on last Friday either. So I don't know what to make of any of that. I feel like that girl's been programmed to live in a fake world for so long, she don't know how to get out of it. She doesn't know the escape route. And society or all her friends at NBC have wanted to force her to come back and be all happy and joyful, even though her mama's still missing. She might need a day off. Oh, something new at Fox News from 4 hours ago, too. Okay. People have all these concerns about Annie and her wig, and I'm like, man, Savannah seems really fucking jolly. I get it, but I don't get it at the same time. Sorry, that's just the way I feel. I do not get it. How it's such a fake world. Let's go pretend everything's great even when it's not, because it's so uncomfortable. People, I just can't. Okay, so let me get to the article itself. All right, the FBI recently received and is now analyzing potentially critical DNA recovered months ago from the Tucson, Arizona home of Nancy Guthrie. Now, one first report said data was going to the FBI, data only, which made no sense to me. And then it was like, no, they're actually getting the hair. But according to CC, the FBI can't test the hair, so what the fuck? All right. And we can't count on the sheriff to come out and give an update that's meaningful, that we can trust. And the FBI certainly isn't talking unless they source out information to people. All right. We know she was abducted on February 1st. That picture was from 2015. Now, that's how long the general public has been exposed to Ms. Nancy Guthrie. It might have gone back further than that. I don't even know. I've never deep dove when they began to bring Nancy Guthrie on the Today Show. 2015. So you're going to tell me people like, why Miss Nancy? Well, everybody fucking knew who her daughter was. I didn't know who Miss Nancy was till this case happened because I didn't watch those fake morning shows with them fake people. A private lab that works with the Pima County Sheriff's Department sent the sample to the FBI in recent weeks. Not yesterday. Recent weeks, the source said. The FBI, I wonder how long ago it was actually sent. Okay. The FBI is now using new technology to conduct advanced analysis on the DNA. Is it really the FBI or is it Australia? Not Australia, Australia Labs. Because they're like the only one in the country doing this testing right now. not Quantico. But okay. FBI is now using new technology to conduct advanced analysis on the DNA sample to see if it could lead to Nancy Guthrie's kidnapper, according to the sources. An FBI official confirmed the Bureau was recently sent a hair sample that was collected in February. There is no new DNA evidence in the Nancy Guthrie case. The FBI requested this material over 2 months ago, the official said. The Pima County Sheriff's Office sent it to a private lab in Florida. 11 weeks later, the lab has now transferred an original hair sample to the FBI lab for testing. We remain fully committed to the investigation. Cece said if that hair had a follicle, it would have been just fine at the Florida lab. It has to be a rootless hair. That's what the problem is. Okay, we'll continue to look into the things. So they remain fully committed. Pima County Sheriff's Department's previously described the DNA recovered from Nancy Guthrie's home as a sample that came from more than one person and therefore needed to be untangled. That's not even a word we're going to use to describe how we can get into this mixed DNA, or we're going to untangle it. I could just see the sheriff in there trying to untangle the DNA with his little hands. Lord help me. It's Friday, right? Okay. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos recently told a neighborhood watch group that it could take 6 more months to separate the strands and isolate what investigators need. So he went and told the neighborhood watch group it could take 6 more months to separate. He's some DNA authority. I don't think the DNA experts is called, sit down with us, Sheriff. We're gonna school you. He don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Oh, Hawkeyes, thank you for the coffee fund money. You're a coffee girl, too. The magic beans make a magic potion every morning, don't they? Every single morning. It was so nice out here yesterday evening. I sat outside for like 2 hours with my evening coffee, touching grass, listening to the birds sing, enjoying the beautiful blue sky and the nice temperatures, thanking God it wasn't winter. Wishing the wind would just calm down a little bit. Yeah, he's been trolling the neighborhood watch groups often. He's like, I'll talk to y'all. You're safe. I don't want to talk to anybody else. They just come at me and hold me accountable for my words, and I don't like that. That Brian Enton guy said bad things about me, and I don't like that either. So go sit down, sir. The sheriff also said as many as 5 other labs around the country are working on the Guthrie case. If I knew what 5 labs, it could help us make sense of your word salad. It was not immediately clear which ones, what their roles are, or, well, why don't y'all get busy investigating it and find out? Go revisit the Rex Heuermann case, and you will find out. Y'all not retaining a damn thing you report about 2 days ago, 4 days ago? Are we not retaining what we have learned? Do they make vitamins for that? Okay. Sheriff has also said go down. About 24 Pima County and FBI investigators are still actively working the Guthrie case after investigators released key evidence, like images from Guthrie's doorbell camera. Early on, seemingly little progress has been made on her whereabouts. I don't know if that hair come from this guy or not, y'all. This idiot trying to cover up that camera with his flowers while biting his light to see. Was there a hair stuck on his jacket and it came off? What about the person he was looking at to the left? If I'm standing at Miss Nancy's door as if I'm looking out at the guy at the porch, it'd be to he comes up to the porch from the left, which kind of makes sense since Banfield reported not only were the back doors propped open, but that gate on that side of the house was propped open. I always wondered, why did it appear he came from the left side of Nancy's home? Why? Did you come from the backyard around and didn't care about the cameras on the casita? But you came from the left side of that house. But when he grabbed his vines, he looks to the right and he's looking at somebody, and he's gesturing with his vine. I'm going to try this shit right here. I don't know if this guy's still alive, y'all. Last month, Savannah Guthrie spoke out in her first interview, telling her friend and former coworker Hoda, that it's too much to bear to think that I brought this to her, beside that it is because of me. Well, we don't know that it was because of her yet. Not like because of her, but because somebody was obsessed with her or whatever. And she tells her mom she's sorry. We knew that. Okay. So that was just a little bit of an article about that. Because there was a report in the beginning that was just data going to the FBI, which didn't make any sense. What they're going to do, analyze your data and go, okay, we agree with you. What data are you analyzing? The tree that the Florida lab is trying to build off a profile they may have gotten? Because we know for a fact when Idaho State Police sent the sheath sample to Othram, they developed it. It was developed over ISP, right? They sent it to Othram for one reason: IgG. They had to stop once they went through all the legal places they could go to. Then the FBI got it and said, hold my beer, we got this. It's just policy guidelines. We don't really got to follow them. We'll get you guy in a second. And they did. If the Florida lab got anywhere with the mixture, then they're working on DNA or IgG, which will have to go to the FBI at some point, because the Florida lab is going to run into the same problem Othram ran into. The doors are shut in these big, giant DNA database companies. You better come with your warrant. But guess who apparently don't need to do that? According to Cash, they do, but they're working with their partners, to serve lawful subpoenas on them. Cooperator are coming with a subpoena. Pima County Sheriff also was posting on X about it, that they the private lab in Florida continues to share with the FBI and the other labs. So I think that while they're developing stuff in the Florida lab, if they can't get anywhere with it because of the technology limitations, then that's being sent to other places that do have the capability, right? And we don't know, like I said, we don't even know if it's relevant at this point. Now, we're going to take a look at what Brian Enton did with CC Moore as well. Yeah, he's looking at Rachel, not a sound. Heard a car down the street or somebody shutting a door. It's in the middle of the night, right? There's nobody out there except for his partner in crime, because I think a lot of us have decided there's probably two people at Nancy's house. At least two people at Nancy's house, right? We only see one. That don't mean there isn't two people there. The guy didn't look up just because he heard a sound that startled him. He looked dead ass at somebody and even gestures to them. I got these vines. Well, we can only, they have no leads, guys, in this case, because whoever was writing the first two letters are out of the country. We read that in the Gannon Stock report when I read to you guys yesterday. They could not figure out where those FBI is having a hard time figuring out where these guys are, including south of the border guy. But they have no evidence, no leads. We never got a car of interest, person of interest, any other footage besides the guy at the door. They're going to have to rely on DNA, it sounds like. That is going to be the only chance to solve this case. Unless the FBI does have something that pertains to the first two ransom notes that can track them back to somebody, or they found the stalker. I don't know which one it is yet. The only way they're going to do anything in this case is to figure out who that. And once you get a name from a tree, you got to go find that person now. And then you can't just go into court. We learned this in the Idaho 4 case. You cannot walk into court and say, well, your DNA matched, IgG says it's you. They have to swab the individual and make that match whatever DNA they found in that home. It is just a tool. I don't know why I keep getting a little connection issue going on, guys. If I bleep out, there's something weird's happening. I got a full signal, but it says, oops, connection lost. And it's only like a second. I don't know why it's doing that. No, Hawkeyes, this guy wasn't as dumb as they claim. People are like, oh, he's a blooming ass idiot. Doesn't know what he's doing. He can't carry his gun right. He's going to pick up flowers. Well, the guy got away, didn't he? Got away. I don't know how dumb he could be. I'm confused about that statement. That's just talking heads saw and thought he's trying to cover up that camera, and that in their mind made him completely stupid. Not in my mind, it doesn't. Interestingly enough, though, Brianna, actually, let me play this before we go into Brian's piece because it's going to be a little longer. Let me share with you with this part that Brianna, because I'm not over the first 2 ransom letters like a lot of people have, just ball them up and throw them in the garbage kind of thing. I'm not there, and I won't ever be there. I won't ever be there until the FBI tells me they were fake. The first 2. I'm not talking about the second batch. Okay? Let me pull up her, was it on her Twitter? She may have done something on YouTube with it. I don't know. I haven't checked. But there was new information about the letters, the first 2. That's why I want to show you this. And then I have a timeline. Actually, let me turn my page over here so I can make sure I got my shit together, because I don't want to put out no false information. Okay. 12 hours ago, amid rumors that Bitcoin was paid to someone in the Guthrie case, I want to clarify when the last time the Bitcoin wallet with the first 2 ransom notes that came into the news station saw any deposit and the message that was written with it. What, ma'am? Okay, let me pull the screen up. Okay, here's what she had to say.
There is no concrete evidence of this so-called Bitcoin guy being paid a ransom. But I want to clarify what has happened with those first 2 ransom notes. So, as you'll remember, our company received those first 2 ransom notes in the Guthrie investigation in that first week. Those had those first 2 deadlines. Those were the 2 that the FBI were taking very seriously. And we now know, after Savannah Guthrie did an interview, that she tends to believe those first 2 ransom notes are real. Those notes came into the news station with a Bitcoin wallet. We went back and looked at that Bitcoin wallet today, and we can confirm that there has been no transaction, no other deposit made in that account since February 10th, when a small amount of money was put into that account. Along with that small amount of money was a note from the people that put it in that said, quote, "We are ready to talk, contact us." And they put a link there to reach out to them. Now, we can't concretely confirm that the family did that, but that's what was put into that account to try to contact the original person who sent those 2 ransom notes. That link to contact them is now expired. It's obviously been a couple months since then. But since February 10th, there has been no other activity in those original ransom note Bitcoin wallet links. We just checked it, nothing more.
Interesting, there was a note put in there, okay? So February 10th, there was a small amount of money put into the account along with a note to the kidnappers. February 10th, also the same day the FBI shared video of Porch Guy. So February 1st, I'm sorry, February 4th was the first direct appeal video. February 5th, Cameron's video. February 7th, the sibling video. February 9th, Hour of Desperation Savannah video. February 10th, FBI shares video and pictures of Porch Guy and deposits a little bit of money and a note into the Bitcoin accounts that actual legit stations received, not just TMZ. February 15th, Savannah posts another video saying it's never too late. I don't know. What do y'all think about that note being in there and how they never reached back out with proof of life? Do y'all still, I'm just curious, do y'all still think those first two were fake, phony bullshit letters written by the same guy who wrote all them other ones? Because they were different Bitcoin addresses. The first two letters have the same address from the same person. All them other ones have a different Bitcoin address from south of the border guy, right? Now, even with these first two coming into local stations, could they be just as fake as what went out in the Gannon Stock case? Absolutely. But I'm not there yet either. I'm still going to put that those two are going to be on my table for quite a while. The note being placed in there is new information, Rachel, because we had not known anything about, and people also got a little confused when Savannah was doing her interview with Hoda, and she mentions the first two, and they thought they were real. When she mentions the second batch, she says, I hadn't seen those. People thought she meant she hasn't seen any of the ransom notes. That's not what she said. Pay attention. She saw the first two. When she said, I didn't see those other ones, she was talking about that second batch of letters. She never said, I did not see the first two. She absolutely did see the first two. Absolutely did see them. Yeah, the second batch of notes from south of the border guy, when Dolphin and I were chilling and reviewing some of that, right, of what he had claimed to say, and he absolutely tripped himself up. One minute I've only seen things or heard things. The next minute something bad is going to happen if you don't pay me to Miss Nancy. How can you do something bad to Miss Nancy when you don't have her? You only have information about her. Right there was a red flag. He's lying, right? South of the border guy, that's what I call him, because he claims he saw stuff south of the border 5 days ago, which would have been around February 11th. That guy, he's bullshit. But the first two are very, very different. Okay, now we're going to go take a look at what CC Moore had to say over on Brian Enton's channel about this hair being found and the testing that can be done and what it means. And again, don't get our hopes up that this is going to lead to the guy. I'm not convinced it will because I don't know whose hair it is or where it came from within the home. Did it come from the back door knob? Did it come from the flower pot propped up to the door? I mean, who knows? I don't know. Did he have a loose hair on his clothes? Putting his little balaclava on may have made a hair fall out or something. I don't know. Yeah, Dolphin, south of the border guy was spiraling. We noticed the discrepancies in his communications the night we were reviewing that stuff, didn't we? Dude, you got some word salad, sir. Oh, and this weekend, probably tomorrow, I'm going to be doing an Idaho 4 show. Massive documents were dropped out of WSU, but a lot of it is like email communications, and I read something super interesting in there, though. I was like, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Anyway, there's a lot to get into with that, and I haven't even finished looking at all that yet, so I'm going to do a standalone show on that all on its own. Dolphin, you need to come do that with me so we can pick it apart like we do. Oh, Dolphin, I don't know if you saw it yet, but Connor did drop Koberger's dad's audio without the crazy watermark stuff all through it. There's new audio out there from Brian Koberger's dad calling up the police department concerned about his son's apartment. But we'll get there. Koberger ain't going nowhere. Oh, and one more thing I got to get to. Timothy Busfield. Oh boy. His attorney, that weird guy, Larry, did an interview, and I have not even watched it all yet because I was breaking news with hair found, right? So I got it. We will review it. I don't know if we'll get to it today or not. I'm super curious. I watched some of it. And I'm like, damn, that's gonna be a dogfight in court, guys. Get buckle up, buttercups. Anyway, like that was. I've been busy, guys. I've been trying to. It's like a lot flying at me. I'm like, oh, we gotta get that. We gotta get that. We need that update. And it's, yeah. I fired my producer, Grayson. She went to work for some other lady. I didn't like her. There's also Dolphin. I don't know if you saw this yet, but or did I think I posted it in the Discord. The Don Daniels giving her testimony for the search warrant. Oh, really, Dolphin? Um, I'll do that. We need to do that this afternoon then. If they're gonna, well, I don't know if they'll redact them or not or pull them back. We'll see. That's crazy. They're going to keep releasing stuff half-assed, redacted, then take it back, right? Take it back. So yeah, we'll get to the Busfield stuff, the Idaho stuff. Now let's get into this hair. Did you see it? Okay, yeah. Yeah, I just started skimming through those documents, and I had to put it down. I didn't even go back and finish looking at stuff yet. I want to sit down at the PC and really go through them and pick out what I feel is relevant to talk about, because there's a lot that's not going to be relevant to talk about. All right, let me get the screen up, and little Brian Enton's going to go at it here. And while he's doing his little intro, guys, I'm going to run and grab a fresh coffee.
Checking out my show. Really appreciate it. Please click to subscribe. I've got some breaking news. It's kind of a last minute episode that I'm throwing together because of this information that I've been able to confirm involving the DNA in the Nancy Guthrie case. So I've confirmed that some DNA evidence, I'm reading this exactly because I want to get exactly what I got from my source right. Some DNA evidence from Nancy Guthrie's home has been sent to the FBI's lab for advanced analysis. I'm told that the evidence includes hairs found in Guthrie's home. And that's an interesting part of this because we haven't known in the past that some of the evidence that they are testing for DNA has been hairs. This comes after evidence has already been tested through a Florida lab that the Pima County Sheriff's Office uses. So essentially, hairs that have been found inside Nancy Guthrie's home are now being tested by the FBI after already going to the Florida lab. Why would they need to go to the FBI lab if they've already been sent to the Florida lab? I'm going to have Cece Moore on in a second here, genealogist and FBI and DNA expert, to explain that. And the answer is actually very interesting, and I'm going to let her explain it because she can explain it much better than I can because she's the expert. Also, Pima County Sheriff put out a statement regarding this new reporting. They say, Pima County Sheriff's Department has worked with the FBI since the beginning of the Guthrie investigation. This is not new information. The private lab we utilize in Florida continues to share information with the FBI lab and other partner labs across the country. DNA analysis remains ongoing. And when they say other partner labs across the country, this is because, remember, they've been having issues with some of the DNA that is mixed. And to separate it out can be a complicated process. So other labs may have different technology. The FBI may have different technology, which is why this evidence is now being sent out to the FBI to test. But again, the hairs in particular are interesting. And that's what I want to talk to Cece more about and find out, is this progress? Could this mean that we are actually getting closer to some real progress in the Nancy Guthrie case? Cece, thank you for joining me. I know it was late notice with this kind of just developing here within the last couple of hours. But I want to see what you think is going on behind the scenes here, because what I have from my source is that DNA evidence from Nancy Guthrie's home has been sent to the FBI lab for advanced analysis, and the evidence includes hairs found in Guthrie's home. So the fact that it's hairs, what does that tell you?
Well, I've been really hoping that maybe they did have some hair to work with because of the more recent advancements in the field. Hair absolutely can make the case solvable. So I'm really excited. And the fact that they sent it to the FBI is interesting to me because they don't have the technology to extract snips from rootless hair. And I am assuming it's rootless hair because if it had a root, it would be really quite straightforward. And the lab in Florida would have already done that. And maybe the case would already be solved. And so this is very likely a rootless hair or a hair shaft, which until recently we were all told did not contain any useful DNA for forensics or for this type of analysis. So the FBI regularly works with a company called Estrella Forensics in UC Santa Cruz, founded by Dr. Richard Ed Green, who is brilliant. And he is one of those people I love that proved everyone else wrong when he was able to refine a technology, create and refine a technology to extract SNP profiles from rootless hair. And I personally have helped solve 6 cases, I think it is now, that only had rootless hair as the physical evidence. And there are many, many more that have been solved and are in the process of being solved. So it opens up many thousands of cases for being able to finally be solved that don't have any other type of DNA evidence.
Now, did you notice how she said that the FBI doesn't have the capability to do that testing? So why is Brian Enton the only one getting that bit of information? Where's these mainstream reporters who should retain what they've learned in the past from other cases? Why are they not looking into that more? Because it's never mind as to why.
So I've talked about this a lot in this case, that I was hoping there might be the opportunity to find some hair. Now we just have to hope that it is the person or persons, one of the persons who kidnapped Nancy.
And so before, I'm trying to make sure I understand you correctly. So before, when there was hair found that didn't have the root, it was just deemed to not really be that useful, and that has now changed.
Yes, so you could get mitochondrial DNA from it only. Mitochondrial DNA can be good for helping to rule people out. It's not so good for ruling people in because so many people share the same profile. And so it was kept in many of these cases, fortunately, but not analyzed because there wasn't really anything to do with it genetically. Now, they might have looked at it to see if it was consistent with a suspect's hair or the victim's hair, for instance, but not any type of DNA analysis. So that's changed dramatically over the last couple of years or few years with Dr. Ed Green's innovation and his great team over at Estrella. And the FBI is regularly using them. They used them in the Gilgo Beach murder case.
What? What was that, ma'am? Bring some knowledge, ma'am. Thank you.
And that is one of the things that helped them zero in on Rex Heuermann. And there hasn't been a lot of talk on that, actually, but that was really important because they set case precedent there. When
it was really important, and some of us really tried to talk about it and see the impact of it, right? Estrella is the only lab that does that testing, guys. So the FBI is going to have to send it to them. So all this word salad, oh, finally, the FBI's got it. It's going to Quantico. Really? Okay, not according to Cece. And this is her actual job. She should know. I'm going to trust what she's saying. Just like when Cece pointed out that the person throwing shade at the Florida lab just for that reason. And everybody on Twitter picked up and ran with it. Oh my God, this is a shitty decision. She said it wasn't so shitty. It was the best move they could have made, actually, that the Florida lab is that good. So is Estrella lab, not Quantico.
the judge allowed that to be entered, or was going to allow it to be in the evidence in the trial, which now isn't going to happen. So it's something that the FBI would have known immediately was very valuable. And I'm a little surprised it didn't go directly to Estrella, but it makes sense perhaps that it would go to the FBI and then to Estrella. You know, they might have some processing they want to do first.
So the FBI will have to send it to Estrella.
And I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm just thinking about hair in someone's house. Like, isn't there a good chance this could be Nancy's hair, or this could be just a family member's hair, or anybody's hair that was in the house and maybe not the suspect?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's again kind of a Hail Mary, like we've talked about more recently in this case. Everything is getting to that point, I feel, because so much time has gone by, but you just never know what that one little piece of evidence is that can break a case wide open. So we can just hold out hope that this is going to be from an unknown male that they aren't able to trace to, being in that home for another reason. And sometimes you don't know if it's male or female. I mean, you don't really, unless it's long and dyed, it might be more obvious. Like in the Gilgo Beach murder cases, some of those hairs traced back to Rex Heuermann's wife and his daughter. And so they have to process the hair to determine, is it male or female?
Do they always send the items like the hair around to the different labs, or are they just sending the data that's already been collected?
They would have to actually send the physical hair to Estrella because they are the ones that have that capability to extract that DNA from the hair shaft. Now, this is something I know that DNA Labs International has been working on for a long time as well. I have not yet seen any successful cases from rootless hair in their coming out of their lab, though, but it may be something that they are hoping to be able to do in this case. I just saw them at a conference. I know they're working very hard on working with hair shafts, not only for SNPs, but for STRs. They mentioned that during one of the presentations this week. Now, that would be a huge breakthrough if you can extract STRs, because that is that court admissible standard law enforcement profile that has been used for many, many years, for decades.
I'm all over what's allowed in court and what isn't, because that makes or breaks a case.
And that has yet to be accomplished. And so that is something that I heard this week that many labs are working toward right now.
Is it possible that, I'm just trying to think, because we only have like vague information about what's going on. Is it possible that this is not rootless hair, that this is DNA from regular hair, and they're trying to do genetic genealogy, and that's why that would go to the FBI?
That doesn't really make sense to me, because if it had a root, that's a very standard type of analysis. It would not be mixed. It would be a single source profile from that root. And I don't see a reason they wouldn't have already started genetic genealogy through DNA Labs International. They have their own program to do that.
Wonder if they're, so the thing is, if it was rootless, then it has to go to Estrella. These other labs are just developing the technology to do the same thing. It'll be interesting to find out what they figure out about the hair. And like she said, they can't just take the data that one lab develops and send, like, here, analyze our data. What's that going to do? We need the actual hair. You know what I mean? They got to have it. So that's where it's going to go. Hey, Ro.
If there had been a hair found with an unknown male in that home, I suspect this case would leads me to believe it's much more likely it's a rootless hair. Otherwise, it just would have stayed in that lab in Florida.
And remember, they said that there was DNA that was mixed from inside the home, and that was one of the challenges that they were having. How does that fit into this new piece of information? Because like you said, if they have hairs, that's not mixed, right?
Right. It might be contaminated and they have to clean it. And we see that a lot with rootless hair because oftentimes it does have contamination, but it's only on the outside. So they're able to clean that and get past that to the DNA of the person who had that hair on their head. So the mixed sample would just be a completely different sample.
Okay.
So this is what
Okay. Yeah. Please clarify this hair was not tangled up into the mixture of DNA. Thank God. I knew that, but even I don't think Brian, sometimes he gets confused. Well, but yeah, it was not tangled up into the DNA. You know, it's a totally separate piece of evidence outside of the mixture.
I've been talking about a lot was the hope that they had dozens or hundreds of other pieces of evidence that they were processing, or maybe went back and found after the first DNA collection, because that mixed sample is going to take some time, clearly, based on what we've heard. And so I was hopeful there might be something else that would pop up in this case that could be a faster way of identifying this person. So I think these are two completely separate things.
Okay, so these are different items that they found, the hair and then something else that's mixed.
Right. And that's more likely going to be something like transfer DNA, maybe a doorknob, or maybe a bed sheet, something like that in her bedding. You wouldn't think there'd be a lot of mix there, but you never know. You know, does she do her own laundry? Does she?
Now, with her saying that about the bedding, when Fox News dropped an article yesterday, it mentioned clipping from the bed sheet. I went back and read the article 3 times. It never mentioned a cutting from a bed sheet. Apparently, it was there and then taken back. Takesy backsies, bad information sourced from a certain person that works at Fox News, I wonder. Oh, Dolphin's coming in with an update. The medical examiner has ruled Celeste's death as homicide. This came from a high ranking LAPD source. Okay. We will get on that. Doug says, we know a sample was mixed. Don't see how a hair could be mixed. Exactly. We know it's separate, right? Tells me there's 2 or more samples. If the sample, say, saliva is below 40%, they'll get a partial profile. Exactly. And we know, I've always felt like I don't even know if they have developed a full, complete partial yet. And you can only work back a tree so much with partial DNA. So the mixture may never really yield a whole lot of anything. That was from TMZ. Dolphin is TMZ report. We'll take it, Dolphin. We'll take it.
Have a house cleaner, that type of thing. And so I'm more hopeful about this. If they really do have a rootless hair and it is from that kidnapper, then this is going to be the piece of information that will solve the case.
Does rootless hair take a long time to analyze?
Generally, it does. Yeah. My experience is it can take a number of months. I'm sure they would push this to the top of the priority list because it's still a hot case versus many of the cases we're using rootless hair on that are, decades old. And so hopefully it will be quicker than my experience has been with it, but it can take many, many months. And sometimes it takes multiple tries. The first couple times they just don't get anything, or they don't get a viable profile or enough of the SNPs out of it. And they have to keep trying, and eventually they're able to do that.
Who decides, like when we hear, okay, it went to Florida labs, now it's going to go to FBI, it might go to a couple of different labs too. Like is that the law enforcement agency making that decision?
Yeah, it would typically be PEMA, but once the FBI becomes involved, things can really change. And so it depends who is in charge of this piece of evidence. If it's the FBI, I think it's very likely it will go to Estrella because they work with them so successfully and so often. If it is up to Pima County, it may go back to DNA Labs International to try to extract that SNP profile from the rootless hair. And maybe even they're working on trying to get an STR profile out of it.
But overall, this to you is positive?
It's really exciting, actually. I mean, I don't want to get everyone's hopes up too much because we've hit so many brick walls here, but it's the first positive thing I've heard for a while. So let's just keep all our fingers crossed that this isn't from a known visitor to her home or one of the family members or Nancy herself. And it really could help push the case across the finish line.
And this is just my last question. This might be a stupid question, but like, does the color of the hair matter? Like if they see that it was Nancy's color, does that come into play?
Well, I think the FBI may be looking at that before they invest in the rootless hair technology because it is still new and very expensive. And I'm sure they're willing to spend money on this case, but they don't want to just throw it away. If it turns out to be Nancy's hair, they will have wasted thousands and thousands of dollars and time on that. And so I think it should be pretty obvious if it's her hair. We know what her hair looked like. We know the color. You know, if there's gray in, if it's brown and gray, look, you know, in her length, then it may not be something.
Well, go into Nancy Guthrie's room or bathroom and get her hair brushed. Get you a hair sample.
Useful. But if it's a completely different color and length, then I think they very well will, you know, may likely move forward and invest in that analysis and the time to get that done.
Well, thank you, Cece, for hopping on here so quickly.
Let me mention one more thing.
Yeah,
if hair
please.
died, what I heard early on from the labs that were trying to develop this type of analysis, which DNA Labs International was one of them, way back, I heard they wanted to be able to do this. They said that when hair is dyed, it can interfere. So since you asked about color, dyed hair can interfere with the process in some cases. And some people have a lot more DNA in their hair shaft than others, is what I've been told as well. So it's not,
interesting.
Yeah, it's not automatic. DNA Labs International very early on, I think way back in 2019, told me they were testing hair from different people in their lab. And they were so surprised they weren't able to necessarily predict whose would be the most DNA rich. So I don't know if that's because that was early techniques and things have now been refined, but it was interesting to learn about. I mean, it's really exciting when we see these innovations and we see these possibilities opening up that didn't exist before.
So, to make sure I understand you correctly, rootless hair, it's not all the same. I mean, like one could have more DNA on it than another if someone had dyed their hair. They
It's
could,
in it. Yeah,
it's in it.
The chemical process can damage the DNA apparently.
You know what don't
But like
make
I said,
sense?
I was
When each time the DNA can become degraded. How many labs are how many DNA samples came from within that home? We have mixture we heard about. Now we're hearing about a hair or possible hairs. What else do they have? It's like, here's you a piece, here's you a piece, here's you a piece. Good luck, boys. Get back to us. Something's weird about that too.
told that a few years ago. It's possible they have now dealt with that challenge and got beyond it. I haven't heard what Estrella thinks about that and how they're dealing with it. But there definitely are some hair samples that are more challenging to extract that DNA profile from than others. So we just have to keep our fingers crossed and wish them luck and hope this finally brings her home.
Great. Thank you,
Wow.
Cece.
So we just learned from the expert in the field that that sample cannot be tested at Quantico. So everybody out there telling y'all, you know, the social medias, the mainstream medias, thank God the FBI finally got it at Quantico. Well, prove to me Quantico is going to test that hair. Like she said, if it had an actual follicle on it and the root was there, it would have been fine at the Florida lab. So it apparently is rootless hair. And if they couldn't get anywhere with it because they don't have the technology Estrella has, then it makes absolute sense to go to Estrella, the same place where Rex Human hair was tested at. What do y'all think? Are we gonna? I would be more comfortable. I would be more confident, I guess, that the sample of hair may lead to something if I knew where it was found within the home. If it was found on Nancy's bed, chances are it's Nancy's hair, right? Because unless we're going to go back to this essay weird shit happening, which I don't think did. So if the hair came from Nancy's bed sheet, it's a good chance it's her hair. Did prelim testing rule out that it's Nancy's hair? Did they compare it to a hair from Nancy? Go same color, same makeup, same this and that. But you can't do a DNA test on it until you get it to Estrella. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out more. I mean, I really hope it does because I've really got a bad feeling if we don't get DNA results in this case, it will never get solved. I don't know what it will take to get it solved. And especially if we can't find who wrote those first two letters. Because this other guy, he don't know shit. And then if they figure out this hair does belong to a male, and they say they do get an IgG tree successfully and it comes back to a name, then you got to go find that person. What if that person's long gone from the United States of America? What if he went south of the border? You know what I'm saying? It's like right there. Why not? If I needed to get away fast because I just botched my whole plan, I'm getting out fast. Right across the border, maybe? I don't know. They could have went anywhere. That didn't post. What didn't post, Dolphin? Yeah, we can be hopeful, right, Rage? But it just doesn't. I mean, this hair could be huge for all we know, but there's also the really good chance it's a nothing burger if it turned, and like she said, that testings is so expensive. Maybe they or did some preliminary ruling. They may have asked the family for a sample. They may have even contacted the friends that came into the house, that because we know they talked to everybody, right? The friends that were at her home a few days before the kidnapping, they may have even gotten samples from them to compare to the sample they had in the home to figure it out. But if they didn't, if they ruled all those people out, then the only way to get to the bottom of it is DNA. And we'll have to wait and see what it yields. Now, let me go look and see what Dolphin was talking about, where TMZ was it on their YouTube, Dolphin? Probably, huh? Probably. And I just said I wasn't going to play on no more TMZ stuff. Like, I'm done. Let's see. I'll have to check. I'm keeping a close eye on Lauren's reporting as well over on the twits. I'll go check her in a minute. Let's see. Oh no, then I start seeing other headlines and I want to just start being a true crime consumer and read and read and read. I'm like, to stop it. Let's see if I can find it. Website? Okay. Yeah, because it looks like the last video that TMZ posted we already shared. Okay, let me go to the website. TMZ. What? Katy Perry is under investigation for alleged SA of Ruby Rose. The hell is that? What is that? I don't even know what that is. Lord, these celebrities get caught up in more scandals and we know what to do with. Okay, let me get to the website and try to find what I need to find. That's weird. These celebrities, man. I don't see it, Dolphin, on the website. I gotta type in exactly what they want me to say. Okay, hey, hang on. Okay. Uh, well, it's not showing up for me, Dolphin. I don't see it. Let's see. Let me do it this way. All right, let me check something here. Okay, thank you, Dolphin. I'll go grab it from there. Because I looked on the thing and I didn't see the. I didn't see it. Okay. Let me send this to. Let me link this to myself so I can pull it up on the computer. Okay, now let me pull it up here. I can't pull them straight up out of Discord. Restream doesn't care for that nonsense. So let me grab where I just sent it to myself. Oh, okay, TMZ report. Let me pull this up. Thank you, Dolphin. All right. Emmy ruled Celeste Riva's death homicide. But do they know how? Okay, a critical piece of evidence in the David murder case is what caused Celeste Riva's death. A high-ranking LAPD source tells TMZ the LA County Medical Examiner has ruled her death a homicide. Remember when they were all going back and forth a few weeks back, guys, about all this, like they were like infighting, turmoil between these agencies there in Los Angeles? The medical examiner had trouble determining the manner of death because of the decomp of her body was in when it was found last September. So see, they know it was homicide, but what was the manner? How did she die? They still don't know that part. At the time, we were told they may never know whether Celeste's death was a homicide, accidental, but according to LAPD source, Emmy believes they figured it out. They believe they figured it out? Huh. Interesting. David was arrested Thursday in Los Angeles over 7 months after Celeste's decomposing corpse was found in the trunk of his Tesla, which was sitting in a Hollywood impound lot after being abandoned in the Hollywood Hills. While he was on tour, he was booked in the LAPD's 77th Street. He hanging out with Nick. Nick. I want to write a book, a tell all about Hollywood and all they've done to me. Okay. Members of LAPD's elite robbery homicide unit showed up at a Hollywood home David was laying low at on Thursday afternoon and escorting him outside to a police car. Dude's like, I'm laying low in the Hollywood Hills. Neighbors didn't even realize he was living there. He was laying low, Dolphin. He's hiding behind the curtains. He's hiding behind the curtains. He ain't even peeking out like we do. He's scared until that big old ramming thing come with the cops. Ram into your door. I wonder, since they think they have figured it out, will they eventually be able to figure out the cause of death? How she was murdered? Um, hmm. Because the jury's going to want to know how she got, how she died. Was it, is he going to claim, this guy could turn around today and well, his attorneys are saying he's not, he didn't do anything. But what if he gets in jail and he's like, I don't like this jail. It's scary. And I just need to tell them the truth. They'll let me go. She died by accident. Everything else just came after was, me panicking. Are we about to do that here, sir? Because if they don't know how she died, he could absolutely do that. Well, how'd she die by accident, sir? What happened? Did she fall down and hit her head? Did you give her too many drugs and she OD'd? Did you beat the shit out of her? Beat her to death? What are we doing here? No, she just died accidentally. And I panicked. And they're going to be like, okay, we get it. We understand. But you're going to get charged with something. I don't know. That's a good question, Dolphin. Can they tell when she died? Because that is something we still don't know, right? We know she was placed in the car. We know the car was found. We know when the body was discovered in the trunk of the car. But what we really don't know on the timeline is when she went missing from David's world, not her mama and daddy's world, because she was always missing apparently. When did she go missing from David's world? And how long had she been in that car? Right? What is her actual date of death? and who caused it, and how many people were at the house the night it happened. Was it just David and Celeste, right? That's what we don't know. And Steve Fisher had reported about the weird uh, cutting tools, or he called them farm tools or whatever, that was found inside David's home. We don't know if that yielded any evidence, because we know well, we've heard that she was dismembered, right? Um, there's a very distinct way to tell dismemberment than the body falling apart, because it's been in the trunk so long. The bones would have cut marks on them. That's how you know the difference between the body degraded itself, being in that trunk, and began to fall apart. Do we see cut marks on the bones of this child? If you do, she was dismembered. That's not rocket science either. That's good critical thinking. I pay attention to evidence, right? I watch forensic files. Were there tool markings on her bones? If so, she was cut up. I don't know, guys, how far. Let's see. Let me see if I can. I wonder, because that's the only place I saw reporting that so far. I even went to, I looked at Twitter real quick. I'd like to see a statement by the medical examiner's office, or at least a press conference be held, to give us a little more information. People are posting things like, who was Celeste Rivas? Like, y'all don't know your news station, man. Okay, let's see if this one has anything in it. And you said TMZ's got more footage of him being arrested, Dolphin, because I hadn't seen any of that yet. I'll go pull it up if we can find it. Yeah, she was put in the bags, but we don't know is if she was really dismembered or not. What? He was staying in Sandra Bullock's old house, when she used to live in years ago or something. Lord, I didn't see that. Who put him up in that house, right? Who rented that home? Was it his management team again? How's that boy affording a house like that this juncture, right? He didn't go back on tour. You got some leftover money we don't know about. Okay, this was a Fox News report, and then I'll go look at the TMZ and we'll see if we can get those videos, Dolphin. Recording artist, this was like posted 2 hours ago, I think. I don't know if it has anything new in it or not. Recording artist David has been arrested in the death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, the teen whose decomposed body was found last September in the vehicle registered to the singer. A brief announcement on X by police department spokesperson said detectives took 21-year-old David Burke into custody, which is the legal name for David. Somebody on Twitter, well, it's not somebody, it's just one particular damn account, all of a sudden thinks there's something. Well, we finally got his government name. I'm like, dude, where you been? We've known his government name. Can I block you now in your words, your nonsense? Because you're on my last nerve. All right. No further information was provided. The DA's office said prosecutors have not decided whether there is sufficient evidence to file charges. Really? This was posted 2 hours ago. The DA said prosecutors had not decided whether there is sufficient evidence to file charges. What have they been doing all these months, thinking about it? They're like, you know what, just shelf that whole case. We'll think about it one day. And today's the day? $17,000 a month. Who's paying for that kind of house for him? He need that much house all by his lonesome? Or was he all by his lonesome? So that's worrisome that the DA said prosecutors had not decided whether there was sufficient evidence. Are they thinking about it this weekend? Well, y'all go pick him up and bring him into custody, and we'll think about it over the weekend. If we can't come up with nothing by Monday, we'll cut him loose. Maybe he'll talk while he's here, and we'll get somewhere like that. Maybe that was the whole point of getting him arrested. I've seen a couple of videos lately. Actually, they're not videos. Two different true crime stories, right, that I was watching. And one, they have the person in the interrogation room, they're interrogating or whatever. They leave them with a notepad and paper. If you could write something to the family of the person you harm, what would you write? Person goes crazy writing shit down. The next case I watched, they did it again. The cops did. I'm like, wait, what is this, a trend? Where they leave the person in the interrogation room. Here's a piece of paper and a pen if you'd like to write something down. And the person's like, okay, if I did this, I am so sorry. What? Do they doing that to David this weekend? They're like, let's read technique him. And if that don't work, we'll give him a piece of paper and a pen, and maybe that'll work. And if we can't get nothing out of him by Monday, we'll cut him loose. Is that really what's happening here? Because again, there's his attorney. Let us be clear. The actual evidence in this case will show that David Burke did not murder Celeste, which y'all claim she died accidentally. I don't know what's happening here. See, it's no indictment returned in the grand jury, so that's stuff we already knew. Something's not right, y'all. Something's amiss. All right, let me go over to the TMZs of it all. Because it's really going to suck, because a lot of us feel like this guy did something. Yeah, we innocent until and all that. We need to see the evidence. But our gut's telling us he knows something at the least, right? He didn't seem to be too concerned about his little girlfriend even being gone. His mugshot hasn't been released yet. In fact, Lauren said that when she called, she had to call the LAPD to confirm he was there because it wasn't even on the website yet. They told her it could take up to 5 hours to get all the information up there, kind of thing. That was last night, I believe. Because I am following Lauren Conlon's updates on X as well, because she does get a lot of good information. I would suggest that would be an account for you guys to follow as well if you would like to do so. It's up to you. Okay, let me look at these videos from the TMZ of it all. I'm looking through their videos and I'm like 8 days ago at this point, and I don't see David's being arrested. Did they show it in a live or in a standalone video? Maybe it's this one. Let's see. I see what he just found out. Let's see. This may be it. Okay, I will, Dolphin. Thank you. Let me do that real quick. Well, look, in Celeste Rivas' mind, she was the man's girlfriend, y'all. So if I accidentally say girl, I get it. She's a child. But that child ran away from home on multiple occasions, acting like a grown-ass woman. And I'm not throwing shame at the child, but there were people who failed this child throughout her entire life, obviously. But in that little girl's mind, she was that man's girlfriend, right? He's a fucking pedophile. He's barely 21 years old. It ain't like he's a 45-year-old man. I'm not saying that a 14-year-old should be dating a 21-year-old under any circumstances, but I got a whole hell of a lot of questions for her mama and daddy that nobody else seemed to want to have. What the hell is your 14-year-old child doing traipsing all over fucking LA with a grown ass man? And you did nothing. Call and report her a couple of times and then let it go? What about the teacher from the school who thought there may be an inappropriate relationship going on but failed to do anything about it? Continuing to allow a child to believe she's a man's girlfriend, right? They're gonna get me started. They're gonna get us fired up this morning. Them adults failed her every which way, but you cannot deny it. I'm sorry. If my 14-year-old child goes missing, I'm turning over every stone in the town and I'm finding my child, and you will not tell me it's dark, go home. I got big ass lights. Try me. I ain't going home till I fall out on this yard, right? Her parents didn't seem to care. Let's be honest. I will. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They didn't seem to care. There's just Celeste showing her ass again. She'll come back when she's ready. That's how they looked at it. Where'd you put? Oh, there it is. Thank you, Dolphin. Was that the same photos we reviewed? Is this a video or? Okay, yeah, the video. Got it. All right. Oh shit. Hang on. It did it again. It won't let me do it the way I just grabbed it. No, cancel. All right, let me do it this way. I'll figure. Y'all, excuse the hot mess express at the moment. I have to grab the link and then give it to myself. Okay, now we can do it. Let me go grab it and pull it back up again. Yeah, anything I get sent in Discord does not pull up right on the restream, so I have to grab it a different way. It's okay. Okay. We got it. This one, yeah. Here we go. Okay. Thank you, Dolphin. Yeah, Butterfly, they got to prove that relationship existed, right? Outside of some pictures and her just hanging out. Will the friends testify he was in a relationship with her, right? He can be charged with statutory rape. The guy's 21 years old. I don't know what else. He won't be charged with pedophile type charges, guys. That's not a pedophile situation. I mean, it could have led to that, but right now it appears to be statutory rape, if you ask me. I'm going to get in trouble now for saying that word too many times. In Florida, that's an absolute charge. If you're an 18-year-old boy and you're dating a girl under the age of 18 and her mom and dad decide, no, ma'am, that's not happening, they can press charges. That was a huge deal in Florida. It got real crazy because there was a time 18-year-olds dating a 15-year-old wasn't a big deal. Then it became a big deal one day. And then it became statutory rape. So the charges have to stick. If we overcharge, we're going to lose our ass in court. Bottom line, no matter how we feel about it, set our feelings aside. We have to make the charges stick. But I agree, he should be charged with it. Yeah. I just don't know what the charge would be coming out of California. I got to look up their laws, right? Every state is different on how they charge you and what's considered consent legally and not. All right. Moment he's taken into custody, caught on video. And this is from the still images that we saw. This is the actual video of it. I wonder who all was in that home with him, how many people were in there, right? Okay, well, too bad you can't see it really well. Yeah, I mean, I understand. I know they'll be able to prove there was a relationship there if the friends are going to speak the truth when they testify, right? Um, I don't think that's going to be hard to prove, but my point is, what kind of charge could he get for that? It's not like y'all are thinking. So I'm gonna have to look up the California law. Hang on a minute. Okay, in California, statutory R, legally termed unlawful sexual intercourse, is defined under Penal Code 261.5 as sexual intercourse with a person under the age of 18. The age of consent in California is 18, meaning that even if the minor consent or initiates the conduct in of the S activity, the adult can still be charged with a crime. But they're not the charge, and I wonder what the sentence would be. All right, so age of consent in California is 18. Um, Penalties based on age difference. What? Based on age difference. Okay. Less than 3 years difference. If the defendant is 18 or older, no more than 3 years older than the minor, like a 19 and a 17-year-old, the offense is a misdemeanor, punishable by up to 1 year in the county jail. More than 3 years difference, if the defendant is more than 3 years older than the minor, it's a wobbler, punishable by up to 1 year in jail or 16 months and is still considered a misdemeanor. Defendant 21 plus and the victim under 16, which is our case. This is a wobbler that often leads to felony charges carrying penalties of up to 4 years in state prison. So he might just get 4 years for that little relationship he shouldn't have been having. I'm more concerned about the murder charge. That 14-year-old girl was out there having sex with more than just David, I can guarantee it. Her mama didn't care. Her daddy didn't seem to care. When children's parents don't give a flying fuck where their kid is, guess what's about to happen? That kid's getting into a lot of trouble. And if you can't control your child, you should figure out ways to do it. The biggest charge isn't going to come out of a relationship he had with her. You know what I mean? That's going to be the lesser of the charges, in my opinion. And I know in our minds, it shouldn't be, but we don't live in California. I don't. I can't change their laws today. I can only go by it today. That's going to be the lesser charge, period. And it's not going to throw him in prison for the rest of his life. According to this, 4 years. It's a wobbler. Can lead to felony charges. And the penalty is up to 4 years in state prison. So we ain't getting none of that. I mean, we can get that charge, but it's only going to get him 4 years. What good is that? A conviction for statutory R under PC 261.5 does not automatically require sex offender registration. However, if the conviction is for a related more serious offense, such as lewd acts on a child or oral copulation with a minor, registration may be required. So there's a chance if he's charged with this wobbler, he won't be forced to register. You see what I'm saying? We can't get ahead of ourselves, because if they charge him with an unlawful relationship, that's going to be the least of his charges. I played it from the beginning, Dolphin. I didn't see any of that. Let me pull it up again. Was there more videos down below to scroll through? I was watching this guy the other night in his live stream, and people were sending him stuff. He's like, "Man," he's like, "I'm sorry, but can y'all be more specific about what you're sending me?" And I'm like, "Dude, I feel you. Tell me what it means. Tell me what's in there I need to look at, because I got to go figure it out." it gets a little overwhelming when you're trying to run a live. Let me pull it back up and see. Oh hell, I got to go get it back. I don't know if there's. I don't really. I'm not going to get a lot out of watching the guy get arrested. To be honest, I want to see him in the jail. That's crazy. You can hear David speak in the video. What does he say? Handcuffs are too tight. I mean, what does he say? No, I couldn't hear it. It's not loud. Hang on. Let me go pull this up again. Plus, I'm half deaf. I'm about to call my dad's doctor and say, "Hey, can y'all give me one of them cochlear plants like you just did my dad? Because damn, I need it." And I have the same problem in the same ear as my dad. I'm like a carbon copy. I better get my ass on down to the ear doctor, like for real. Okay, let me grab it back again. Come here, you. Okay, I guess it's the video in that article. Let me stop for a second before I put it up there. Is there more than one video? Is it just that one? Stupid ad thingy. That's just a picture. Was it just the one video in there? Y'all said they had several angles, but I'm only seeing one video in this article. I didn't see any videos on their damn Twitter page. All right, let me go, or YouTube. Let me go back up here. This ad out. What is this doing? Okay, let me get it back up and share the screen again. Okay. They're saying they're going to send the dogs in. He's saying the gate is locked. Well, get your ass up and go unlock the gate. I don't want to hear it, Bubba. I don't want to hear it. Get up and go unlock the damn gate. We're coming in. Hey, where's the play button?
Look, it's gonna obscure my view from the gate. It's good?
If you try to run or if you try to resist, you will get hit with my feet door. It's gonna hurt.
I got you.
If you try to run, we have canine on premises and you will get bit.
I got you. Alright, so do I open the gate? Sir? Open the gate.
Okay, and then we saw the rest of that. You know, they were coming in with their battering thing. They didn't care about that gate being locked. TMZ YouTube. There was apparently there's some different angles of his arrest on TMZ's videos or something. Yeah, they're not in this article. I scrolled down and they're not. Yeah, I looked at TMZ's video or YouTube and I didn't see any videos. Doesn't mean they're not there. Let me go look again. I'll take my time again. TMZ, click on videos and start scrolling down. And I see 55 minutes ago, RFK Jr. caught in huge scandal. 3 hours ago, David Case, what I just found out. We reviewed that. 23 hours ago, Kanye West in trouble. 23 hours ago, Anna Paulina Luna reveals bombshell. 1 day ago, Katy Perry caught in major scandal. 1 day ago, Lynette Hooker. I don't see him. Anna Kepner, Ted Cruz, Epstein, Trump, Justin Bieber, Ben Affleck, and Jennifer Lopez. Y'all two go the fuck away, please, weirdos. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see the videos on TMZ's page. Like, I didn't know if that was a live you saw them on or if it was an actual video they dropped. So I just went through all their videos and didn't see it. Let me do it this way. Hope they didn't jump the gun by arresting this guy if they ain't got nothing to charge him with. That's not. Let's see, video. Video. Do we have video? That he put out. If they're out there, I mean, I did video searching on YouTube, and like I don't even see one coming up. I don't know. Let me see. Y'all jump on there and look and help me look. Are you serious? Not y'all. I just said something out loud to myself. Hang on, I got to put this on my watch later. Hang on. I got to do some recon after a while. I'm clocking a few people. All right. See, my mind is always going. Y'all ask me. I start going to look for things to share with y'all, and I find other things I want to go down that rabbit hole. I'm like, oh, look, I'm going down there. Y'all going to be like, we lost her. Don't make me go look for stuff while I'm live. We'll cover 15,000 stories in about just a little while here. Hang on, I got to look back down at the phone and see if okay, shorts. I don't even watch shorts. Okay. I guess what they did was the one we saw in that video a while ago on the article, they pieced that together. There's separate shorts here on it. Hang on. Let me, Lord. This is the right one. Right here, I'll show y'all what I'm looking at. Okay, this is their shorts page. I don't know what these are. You can tell that second one, this is new angle, David arrest. That's what we just watched through the fence. Let's see what this one is. I was able to see it. Here we go. I found it.
Detective?
Yes, sir.
Hi. Robert Kovasic with NBC.
Oh, I watch you all the time. How you doing, Robert?
This is the
They're
piece
gonna
of just
obscure my view from the gate. The
If
gate.
you try to run or if you try to resist, you will get hit with mouthpiece doors. You're gonna hurt.
I got you.
If you try to run, we are cleaning our premises. You will get bit.
I got you. All right, so the gate.
it's the same as we saw already. So there wasn't anything new there that I do. Yeah. Dolphin, I don't watch any of them people. You watch Pascal's show. I don't watch him. I don't even know who those other ones are you're talking about. I only watch a few people on these YouTubes anymore. I'll tell you who I do enjoy the hell out of. I enjoy the Nerve, probably more than a person should. The Nerve YouTube channel. I love that lady. She's my kind of people. And it ain't nothing to do with true crime stuff. You know what I mean? I get tired of just true crime. I have to decompress sometimes and go look at. So I don't watch a lot of true crime unless I'm reviewing something. And sometimes I like to just be the chatter. but it depends on where I go. I don't know who those people are you're talking about, except for Pascal. just I can't with that guy. It's just a personal reason. It makes me want to say something out loud about a rumor that I probably shouldn't say as much as I want to. Oh, I watch all sorts of people too, but I don't know the people you just named. I don't watch a lot of. If it's cases I'm covering, I have no desire to go watch them anywhere else. Just a few things maybe, because we're all covering the same thing, and I leave my thoughts need to be my own, right? But if it's a case I'm following but not covering, then I'll there's just a few people I watch. I don't know who all y'all watch and who you people don't watch. Um, let me see if there's any updates out here. Because I review a lot of stuff too, but I have a playlist, right? If I need to save this for my show, it needs to go into this playlist. So if y'all find something that's super important, you got to send it to me and tell me what it is. Otherwise, because I can't, it gets crazy when you're trying to look for all of it. Breaking news in the Tyler Robinson defense. I have not been following what all is going on there, guys. Is there some weird shit going on there? Because why am I getting the feeling there is? Tyler Robinson's defense attorneys just told the judge that while the FBI and ATF claimed in the probable cause statement that Robinson's DNA was found on the rifle's trigger, ammunition, round casings, and multiple execution never is over in physical or digital form to the defense. Is that because it doesn't exist? Oh, goodness, more conspiracy theories. Oh, Lord, see? And they claim we are conspiracy theorists. You true crimers. That what I just read makes them something's going on there. Who is Sloan? What gossip? Are they true crime? True crime gossip? What kind of gossip? I don't watch Strategic Eyes. I know who he is. I've watched him a couple times back. What case was it? Butterfly, where was it during Madeline Soto? We watched him a couple times, but that was all I've ever watched of him was a couple of times. I don't watch Pascal. He's an entertainer. That's all he is. That's all he is. He has no. I've not seen any more information coming out of his show than I've seen anywhere else. Let me put it that way. Right? Like I'm not going to run to him to get a scoop because I know I'm not going to get a scoop. I'm going to get a bunch of, hey, be my friend and sub up and yay, all the stuff. I just can't with that guy. Just because I can't don't mean y'all can't, right? We all make up our own minds. Yes, it was the Stearns case, Butterfly, that we did review him a couple times. I just haven't watched a lot he's done since then because I don't. I'm always streaming and doing my own thing. But I don't know who the Sloan person is. They got gossip. What kind of gossip? Somebody answer me. Y'all can't just feed me a crumb and not tell me the cheats. You watching Jolene? I do not watch Excited Utterance often. But I watch Jolene from time to time, especially late at night. I need a good laugh. You know what I mean? Because she's hilarious. And I love her teardowns of Trisha. You cannot go wrong with some Jolene when it comes to Trisha from the web sleuths. I haven't even watched Difficult Research in a while. I need something, celebrity gossip. Okay. I usually get mine out of The Nerve with Maureen Callahan. I fucking love her. She fucking cusses like I do. And it kind of like makes me feel better about my cussing over here. We'll have to check them out, Butterfly. I'm down with some celebrity gossip. Like I want drama, but not I don't have drama, my own drama, so I go watch their drama, right? For shits and giggles. When I want to watch what I call mindless TV because you're tired of all the brain hurting stuff. And we watch a lot of brain hurting stuff around here, right? Um, let's see, she got this interview. Let's see. I'm interested in this. I want to hear what he has. Okay. Okay. LA Magazine just dropped this about an hour ago. And Lauren is a reporter with LA Magazine. And she's going to talk with Mark here about the case, the David Celeste case.
Amid the news of David's arrest, I had to bring on our favorite, Mark Garagos, high-profile criminal defense attorney, to break down certain things for me, help me understand exactly what's going on. So, Mark, right now, David is currently being held in an LA County jail cell, no bail, charged or arrested with suspicion of murder. Now, can you just go through the difference in someone being charged versus arrested versus indicted?
So and I don't know if I haven't checked, have you checked today whether or not he's entered into the sheriff's inmate system?
Yeah, he's there. I have it right here. It's a felony charge level. And it's the agency description is LA robbery homicide. Bail is no bail. And the location is LAPD 77th Street.
Which makes sense. And it does not have a case number. Does it have a court date?
Nothing.
Correct. So this would seem to indicate, and for those who don't believe that Lauren and I do a little bit of preparation, we talked yesterday, and for everybody, I will tell you, my first inclination or gut reaction was he gets picked up on a Thursday. There are Thursday grand juries, so-called Thursday grand juries, and that the grand jury had indicted. This is not apparently an indictment. This does not even appear to be a complaint. A complaint is where the DA files paperwork, and the paperwork then goes to an arraignment where he's heard for, or a bail is discussed, and you enter a not guilty plea, and then you set a probable cause proceeding, which is what an indictment is. It does not appear that any of that has been done as of yet, because if it had been, you would see on the sheriff's website, you would see the court date, and you would see probably a related case number a lot of times, and none of that appears to be there. This looks to me like the LAPD decided we're going to pick this guy up and we're going to arrest him. And by the way, picking him up on Thursday evening, I don't know what time he was booked in, or Thursday after 12, under the current state of the law, he may not be brought before a magistrate until Monday. Meaning
that was so on purpose. So on purpose. Yeah. And just so you know, it says the arrest time was 5 p.m. He was booked at 12 p.m. in the jail. So yeah.
5 p.m. is 5 p.m. The cynic in me would say that's not a coincidence. That gives them, it's after the court date. I'm sure his lawyer is frantically trying to get him on calendar in Department 30, but it's a difficult situation here, and there's a little bit of chess moves going on, because since there isn't a filed complaint, if you go to Department 30, which is the arraignment court, the clerk's going to look at you like you're smoking crack, because, well, she won't do that because she's very kind, but they're going to say, what can I do? We don't have a case.
Right. And the DA's office said this is going to be kicked over to the Major Crimes Division, and we will have an update by Monday, again, for filing consideration. So that is when
Sunflower. That's why she doesn't care for me, because I know all about it. I do my research. I know a lot about some of these. I don't like to sit up here and call out creators, because honestly, people are going to watch what they want to watch, right? And I feel like when you start getting into that creator sucks and that creator sucks, you're only trying to get people to come watch you instead. And so many creators do that. I'm better. I'm shinier. I won't tell you the lies, right? It's ridiculous. Sometimes you got to do it, but sometimes you can just let it all go. I am fully aware of everything Excited Utterance has ever done in the Delphi case as well as the Koberger case. Take everything with a grain of salt. But boy, she made a lot of people happy going after Lauren and Hidden True Crime. Gained a lot, I guess people didn't know the backstories of stuff, but people can go watch who they watch. I don't watch her. I don't. I just went over to that Sloan channel. You can talk about Kim Kardashian's daughter and her blue hair.
Hopefully this DA obviously doesn't have an issue making any statements to the press. So hopefully we'll get a press conference. We can finally go through the docket and say, okay, there is a case number to this. And then I can write my letter to get the indictment, or someone can go pick it up for me, I hope.
I don't think they're going to indict on this case. And there is a question as to whether they tried to indict and didn't get a true bill. Because at this point, what this does practically, based on the information you're giving me, it could change if we get something else. But practically what this does is it gives the DA the whole weekend to formulate what they want to do. The only option David has right now in terms of getting released is to make an application to the bail commissioner. And that's something that you do. So pre-filing, if you're detained, which he is, you have the ability to call the number. I actually haven't memorized, one of the few numbers I had memorized before smartphones. And you call the bail commissioner, and the bail commissioner can oftentimes set a bail. This is not a case that would normally happen. So he will probably sit there over the weekend. You said it went to major crimes.
Well, it's supposed to. Yeah, let me ask you, let me interrupt you, because you said the word, he has been detained. Now, this is, I think, some confusion online as well. You cannot detain someone on a felony suspicion of murder with no bail unless they are arrested. You detain someone based on, you suspect them of something, but generally they are released. And now concurrently you have Claire Burke, David's attorney, who put out a statement that seemed to be confusing a lot of people, where, let me find it, what she said exactly. She said, okay. She said, there's been no indictment returned by any grand jury in this case, no criminal complaint filed. David has only been detained under suspicion. Well, he's been arrested. He was arrested on suspicion of murder.
Correct. So
that lawyer twisting it.
When you say detained, normally detention means if you're out on the street and an officer wants to detain you and he has a suspicion and he has a level of suspicion that will allow him to detain you. At a certain point, a detention converts into an arrest or a custodial situation. It clearly turns into that when you get booked and put into custody at LAPD 77th. He is clearly in custody. He is clearly also detained, but more so than in the legal sense. So he's detained in the practical sense. He's been arrested on the officer's suspicion of probable cause. If there is no complaint that has been filed, and my guess why is for that is so that if there was a complaint filed, he would have been able to go into court and get bail.
Right. So, I mean, by the literal sense of the word, yes, he has been detained, but legally it's a little bit more than that. Okay.
He's been arrested. Some officer, some detective believes that there is.
And now
all this sir just decided we got probable cause for an arrest. I'm yeah, it feels like all y'all got a pretty good feel for the community, right? Y'all, I'm seeing the comments, and I feel like y'all got a pretty good feel for a lot of these people out there. Yeah, it's obvious with some of them, but all I can do is come out here and be myself. I will never pretend to be somebody I'm not. I won't pretend to be fake. I don't know how to not be me, and just come out and true crime talk, right? And present the evidence that's there and getting into the weeds of it all and playing those games that some of these creators out there are willing to play to get you to come watch them. I don't. I don't want no part of it. But there are a few people y'all have mentioned in chat that I'm very leery of, and I pretty much steer clear of. I know who's using who, and I'm gonna leave it at that. Poor things, not y'all, but I know what y'all are talking about. I don't want to do creator wars because that takes away from the true crime content. The next thing you know, you got 15 creators fighting with each other, and we're all a subject to Queen Bee. I'm not that person.
Then let's just wrap this up with a bow, because again, there's so much that we still don't know, of course. But 7 months, and all of a sudden they have probable cause to arrest after 7 months. What happened? I mean, did I have to wonder here? Did a witness come forward? I don't know. What did they find that all of a sudden they're like, arrest him tonight?
Forensics is my
That they
guess.
were waiting on, you think?
Yeah, I think they've been waiting on forensics. I said that early on. You and I talked about this months
We did a
ago.
while ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe they probably were waiting on forensics. Remember, this case, they are at absolute loggerheads with the ME, with the medical examiner. So my guess has always been the medical examiner would not give them what they wanted. And they probably hired an outside expert. They've been waiting on outside expert tests. You know, there's also, I could be very cynical and say one of the reasons that they brought him to 77th Street Station is because they were hoping he would talk. That's not an uncommon tactic for the police when they're somewhat frustrated with the progression of a case. They'll detain somebody, take them to the station, say we've got enough suspicion, and see if they talk, or if they make a phone call and say something stupid on the phone
Well, you just said the same thing I said a few minutes ago, sir.
call. That's
Why
all
is
those
that?
things are.
Just I
Why?
know 77th Street. Why is that the place to talk? Just curious.
It's all wired. They've got it wired up. I
Oh,
mean, they have that 77th Street is a lot
nice.
easier to monitor what somebody who's in custody is saying than inmate receiving at the county jail.
Nice move. Let's put his ass over there and see if he talks. We're going to read technique his ass for a minute. Then we'll give him a cigarette break. It's like I want to be a fly on the wall in there.
Okay, got it. And just so I know, like, just take me through really quickly. Like, I mean, what
Well,
the
you're
hell
not we're not detaining you at 77th Street. So
Yeah, Dolphin, he's probably not going to come out and admit to anything, but you'd be surprised at how many of them do try to talk their way out of it.
I'll say just so your listeners know.
No, I mean, I'm just wondering, like, so what is going on with David?
We don't know that he's not talking, guys. No more than Brian Koberger, right? He might be sitting there all quiet. Lawyers done told him, don't you say a word, dude. Everything you say on a phone's being recorded. Do not talk to your mama about the case. Don't call your best friend. You probably don't got none no more. Everything. They're not worried about. They're going to be more concerned if they can get him to talk to them. If they go in there and read technique, this punk ass boy, he might piss his pants and spill the beans. You never know. That boy ain't got no manly bones in his body. Come on. He gonna piss his pants.
He's going to be sitting in a cell all day. Like when you were sitting
correct, they can keep them. Normally, what would happen is when you're detained at 77th Street and you have not been taken for arraignment, you will remain at what's called a substation until you're taken for arraignment on Monday. So he will be transported, presumably, to directly to the courthouse, to the criminal courts building, the Claridge Shortridge Foltz building, on Monday morning. He will sit in, generally, unless they put him in a keep away area, they'll put him in the tank outside at 30, and then he'll wait, and then the DA will make some kind of an announcement as to whether they're filing or not. if I were also again to be a cynic, I would say this is also could be performative, that you have the weekend to let all of the media attention build, and then you do a press conference and proclaim his guilt in a press conference, and then you run to the judge and say, we want a gag order
There's somebody at my door, guys. I'll be right back.
because we don't want any of this stuff leaking. That is a kind of the blueprint of what the modern prosecutorial era looks like.
Okay. And I guess, I'm just wondering at this point, when it comes to David, is he physically just going to be sitting around all day thinking about this? I mean, I'm sure he gets a phone call or two. He'll get 3 meals, whatever. But what is he?
Correct. He'll sit in the cell. I would imagine he's entitled. It's actually a misdemeanor in California to deny him access to a lawyer. So I would expect that either Blair or somebody in her office will be down there talking to him for hours and hours and hours. One of
Okay.
the reasons that you would do that tactically is not only to try to keep him calm and not to say anything stupid, but you also want to take him out of a situation where he's put in some kind of harm's way or being compromised, whether it's another inmate claiming for a confession, whether he makes a phone call, whether there's a interrogation, all the things that are a defense lawyer's worst nightmare.
Right. Is he does he get his own cell, or is he in a big holding cell, or how does that work?
Completely at the discretion of the jailer.
Ooh,
with a lot of prosecutorial input.
Okay, he's alone then. I mean, I'll call
Oh
him.
no, they may have him in. They may have him in with somebody who wants to reduce their sentence. Once again, being a cynic.
Wait, right? No, that's a good call. Okay, Garagos, this has been good for me. A lot of clarity. I hope everybody else can get a little bit more clarity as this case unfolds. It's very confusing, very secretive, but progress is being made.
Well, progress if you say putting somebody on ice in a cement cell, but that's just me. So
listen, that's better than yesterday and the day before and the month before and months before that, right? I was coming, to terms with the fact that we may never get an arrest on this case. So,
I'll be very shocked if we don't move to the next stage on Monday morning. So we'll see. We'll see if my cynicism is borne out. Thank you.
Thank you, Garagos. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
All right. You think David is cold and calculating? I don't see him as cold and calculating. I see him as a fucking dumbass who thought he could do something stupid. Now, is there a change? Now, so David has been lawyered up for quite a while. His lawyers told him, don't you say a word once you get your ass in there. But here's the thing. You got his punk ass in there. And if these cops scare him and go boo and he cries, he might just start talking. You never know. You can't tell. We don't know enough about him. He's a punk ass on the stage singing a bunch of songs, right? But I don't know I don't know that he's not going to talk to the cops. And I can't say that he will either. No, Simi, there was my big dog, she barks when necessary. No, my dogs don't run to the door barking and screaming when the door knocks. I try to train them not to do that when they're little because it bothers me. I don't need you to do all that unless I tell you to. I had a dog, she'd sit there beside me, somebody would knock at the door, and I would say, watch it. All I had to do was whisper, watch it, and she would hit that door and light it up. But no, my big dog, she stands there and she'll wait for them to try to get in before she starts. And the puppy's in the kennel right now. My big dog only barks when if she barks, I need to get up and go look at that point. I don't want to own just a barker at the wind. No, that wind ain't gonna hurt me. Stop barking, right? I want you to bark when it's necessary. So she only barks when necessary, and 9 times out of 10, I'm going to look and see what she's barking at, because something ain't right in the neighborhood. David might just be a stupid punk ass kid, y'all. What about him that we've seen other than what TMZ's reported over several months? With bizarre music and stage presence, he's a fucking singer. So what about him makes us believe he's cold, calculated killer who's never going to talk? We don't know enough. Right, Kelly? You need those dogs. My dogs, get some act right about yourself, man. Unruly dogs. I go to some people's houses and there's like five dogs tearing up the door and you can't even get in the door because of all their dogs. It's like, man, yeah, I want them to bark for when it's necessary. Yeah, I mean, cold and calculating by erasing all her stuff. I mean, that's the way you want to define it. Yeah, I guess. But that doesn't mean he won't talk when he's in jail like a scared little boy. He can be the big man outside of the jailhouse, guys, is the thing. I get he was manipulative and all that, but that don't mean he won't break under pressure to some seasoned ass detectives. That's all I mean. It could happen. That boy is a punk ass. I'm telling you, if you get in his face and scream boo enough, he's gonna fucking cry. Come on, big man, with your fucking manipulative behavior. You can only manipulate little girls. You can't manipulate grown ass people. I don't remember what kind of lawyer his dad was, but his dad is not involved in his case. His dad is not a criminal defense attorney. I do know that. So he ain't got no business sticking his nose in his son's criminal defense case. He don't know what to do. He's not a criminal defense attorney. He's not a former prosecutor. He's probably some kind of executive, legal business lawyer or something. Let's see if we can look it up real quick. We've read it in the past, but I forgot what kind of lawyer he was. I know they didn't want to, for a man, okay, he's an attorney, but him and his wife are trying to dodge subpoenas at the same time. Yeah, he's a real smart lawyer, isn't he? But he's not a defense attorney, so he's useless in this case. They're from Texas. Let's see. Oh, what is this? He comes from a close knit family. His parents are Dewud and Colleen Burke, and he has a brother named Caleb. Raised in a disciplined religious home, his family relocated to Houston, where he was homeschooled and involved in church music. Background: the family lived in Waller County area of Texas. Let's see. Oh, I don't want to go to ancestry.com and get no family tree. Hold up. I don't want to go there ever. I don't trust that place. They be trying to steal my DNA, put it on a tree somewhere. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, of course he was told not to talk by his dad and the attorneys he has. His parents wouldn't even talk, right? They dodged their subpoena. They were trying to. But just because you tell them 500 times don't talk when you go to jail, guess what happens? Sometimes they still talk. That's all I'm saying. We can't sit here and say he won't say a word because we don't know that. You got a little scared punk ass 21-year-old boy right now sitting in jail, a place he thought he wasn't going to be. He thought he was going to get away with it. He might crack under the pressure of it all. Yeah, I didn't say his parents didn't have any sense because he's not a criminal defense attorney. I think y'all are taking what I'm saying very different than the way I wanted to express it. I don't know anything about David Burke other than what I've seen on TMZ. Crazy singer, kind of music I don't enjoy, dating 14-year-old girl, right? Doing bizarre shit. But I don't know what kind of person he is that he won't crack under the pressure of a police interrogation. It depends on the interrogators, right? You don't never know. He might go in there fully 100%, like, I'm not going to say a word. Halfway through it, he might start saying something, especially if he thinks he can talk himself out of it. Or if I tell him this, it'll show him I didn't do it. There's just no telling. And yeah, like I said, the parents were trying to dodge subpoena, just like Neo. Nobody wanted to talk in this case, which I got a problem with those people. Why wouldn't you? Especially if David's parents believe he didn't do anything, why not talk to the grand jury? Why not? Why not Neo do it? Why fight about it all this time? Why? It makes no sense. Yeah, I mean, this ain't no big ass burly 30-year-old man. He's a 21-year-old punk. And I could probably get my grandson to cause him to break. If y'all want to know the truth, I don't give this guy any credit to be some kind of master manipulated mind killer. I think the guy done some shit and he's about to get fucking caught for it. Depends on their evidence. If he was a little older, a little more mature, a little more street smart, I'd say, nah, he ain't gonna say a word in that jailhouse all weekend long. But I don't know. They say the Reed technique is pretty bad. It makes people break down and cry and confess things they never did. So who knows if they'll get him to talk or not. We'll have to see what happens on Monday when they bring down formal charges, if they actually bring down a formal charge, right? Um, and then again, we got to see how well it sticks. Okay. Let me check something before we head out for today. Now, Brian Enton did drop a piece. Was it yesterday? It looked like he just did something else again, or he made a. Okay, there's a video. So Michael McKee had a hearing yesterday. The surgeon is accused of killing his ex-wife Monique and her husband Spencer. What sort of defense could his profile attorney be preparing? Brian did do a video on would it be possible for him to use temporary insanity defense, but I need to know I don't want to find out more about what that court hearing was about yesterday. What was the court hearing for? You know what I mean? I don't even know if Enton covered that in that video or not. Because he did that video before, I think it was dropped before the latest Nancy Guthrie video with Cece that we watched. And I think I watched part of it, and it was just him and I respect and like the panel guest he had, but it was just them considering the idea of it, not like anything in particular had happened. But let me see if I can research something about the court hearing yesterday real quick. Hold on. Okay. Okay, the Columbus Dispatch. Let me see if it's going to let us read this article. Oh, okay, let me pull this up. Let me get all the things out of my way. What is this? They got audio? No, that was his first appearance. Okay, they're just showing the old one. Okay, let me go down here. Surgeon is accused of sneaking into a Wineland Park home and killing his ex-wife and her husband back on, had an April 16th court appearance, but he wasn't seen. McKee, 39, did not appear in person when his attorney and prosecutors met with Franklin County Common Pleas Court Judge Kim Brown. McKee is charged with aggravated murder and aggravated burglary in connection with the December 30th shooting deaths of McKee's ex-wife and 39-year-old Monique Tepe and her husband Spencer. The April 6th hearing was a status conference, took place behind closed doors. The attorneys were expected to discuss with Brown the status of the process of exchanging information and evidence and potential timelines. So it's just a common status hearing. And he's still being held without bond. So that case is going to continue to move along. We'll have to get some good updates and try to get some of the court documents out of that case. Things are really just starting to be filed in there, so things are just coming down, I think. I don't feel that way, Sunflower. I mean, why? Because there's just, you can't cover Nancy Guthrie each and every single day. You can, but you're going to regurgitate some of the same stuff. But most of his videos are still, he's thrown in other videos about other things, but I haven't found that they fall flat yet. You know what I mean? But I've always liked Brian Enton's reporting because he's fair and he just wants to, he has no drama involved and all that. And I like some of the interviews that he does as well. He does get good guest panels too. But I mean, they're only going to be able to find out so much. And if we're all sitting back waiting on the next FBI source to come spilling the beans, they all might have gotten in trouble by now. Like, which one of y'all's talking and we're sick of it? Somebody's going to get in trouble. I don't think he's trying to come off as naive, Dolphin. I think he just is. Y'all. He just is sometimes. He can't help it. So there's a lot of naive people in this world. I see a lot of them all the time. I just feel like sometimes he's a little naive. That's all. He didn't break from Nancy Guthrie. He did so much good reporting and brought so much out there, but there's not much else to bring out there. So of course he's got to move on to next videos. You run a dangerous game if you're on this platform and you want to hone in on one case and stay there and never leave that one case. I never want to be that channel. I never wanted to be a Delphi channel. I never wanted to be an Idaho 4 channel. I'm a true crime channel. Brian Enton is a true crime channel as well. So we cover it until there's nothing left to cover. That's just the way I feel about it. But at least over there I get integrity and I don't got to worry, is it true? You know what I mean? And we get good conversations out of there as well. Yeah, it gets repetitive. Ugh. It was into Sebastian, right? And and like I said, this thing has gotten so messy with Nancy Guthrie. I don't know. I feel like some people in the communities want creators to go dead ass after that family. Like, if you don't know what you're doing. You're a fool, right? You can't see the truth. Well, you better bring some receipts with that truth because I'm not getting caught up in a defamation lawsuit because I come out here and told y'all Tommaso did it when I don't believe Tommaso did it, you know? Some of them YouTubers are about to be in some serious ass trouble. I do like to go to the people I can watch and not have to worry. I honestly don't even I don't venture off into channels where I gotta wonder if what I'm about to see is even real or not. I just won't even go there and hurt my brain. I ain't got time for all that mess. And if you don't like what Brian's video, just, you know what I'm saying? If he puts a video out and it's not a case you care about, don't watch it. Go to the next one. That's what I do. Banfield's got something out today and I'm not interested. I'm the hooker. I'll see you later, girlfriend. You have at it with them drunk people on the beach. You know, I don't hate Ashley Banfield and I don't love her either. I'm just down the middle with her and a lot of them. But there's a lot, like I told somebody, you consume your content at, right? You feel like he's a baby reporter? Well, he's been reporting way back since the Gabby Petito case. He's a different kind of reporter. That's my take on it. Brian's a little naive, but Brian's got like just very open, kind of guy, but I don't know that I can qualify him as a baby reporter because his reporting has been so much fucking better than many people out there. Seasoned reporters who should be grown ass reporters, you know what I mean? So I'm just saying. I do like him. I have no reason not to like him. Honestly, you don't even see why anybody would dislike that man. What would he give? What reason would he give? He hadn't done anything yet. He hadn't put out shitty videos. He hasn't gone out and thrown shade and pointed at fingers at a bunch of dozen people with, throwing their names around, giving us that inaccurate reporting and below the belt style stuff. That doesn't happen on Enton's channel. Yeah. I know, but I don't think him being naive is not an act, in my opinion. That's what I thought you meant earlier. That's what I'm just saying. He actually is naive. Okay, I'm not scared to say it. He actually is naive. Look, he covered it. There was a lot. There was a lot in Pima County. If Brian Enton hadn't been there, would we even know about it? He began to platform the people talking about the problems within the county, within the police department. And then lo and behold, all the other streamers, oh, hell, I want a piece of that action. Brian Denton's got the scoop. Let's get Aaron over here and get our own interview with him. That was all Brian Denton. All Brian Denton brought all of that out there. Little baby reporter, naive and all, brought all that out there to us. While the mainstream media sat there scratching their head going, how did he get that interview? You got other podcasters going, how did he get that interview? We want some of that. Come here, Mr. Coates, and talk to us now. It all started with Brian Denton, right? I mean, a grown ass man. All right, guys, I didn't see any updates on anything. We'll have to keep our eye out on everything. Yeah, I just, after watching some of that fake news, mainstream media stuff, and the drama of it all and the hoopla, it's calming to go sit and chill and watch an Enton video. Just let me calm a minute because some people get me all fired up on the internet. I calm myself down. And then there's one podcast I'll put on when I need to sleep and can't. I'm like, this dude will do it. He'll do it every time. I'll fall asleep in a few minutes. Brian Enton does care about facts. That's not even a question. That is proof in every video. He cares about the facts. And that's what a lot of people should care about, are the facts. We shouldn't even have to say that. Oh, well, they care about the facts. That should be the only places we go to consume content, is people who do care about the facts, right? That's where I go. I don't go venture off in those shady ass channels where I know they don't give a fuck and they're unethical. I won't even go over there. Like, why would I do that to myself? So, if y'all watch who you want to watch, if you don't like them, don't watch them no more. like I do. Make up your minds. Like Simi says, she can't stand Ashley. Ashley don't really bother me, but I've rolled with Ashley Banfield since the 1990s. She's not new to me. Nancy Grace isn't new to me. These are people I've known for 30 fucking years. So they don't bother me in the same way they bother people who aren't familiar with them as much, I guess. So that's the beauty of being individuals. We can all go watch what we want to watch and all the things, and don't watch who you don't like. But I did sub up to that Sloan person, so I could get me some drama. Um, Facts are important to a lot of us, but facts are important than anything else. But sometimes, as a creator, can I be honest with y'all? I feel like people don't want to come in here unless you are participating in the drama. And if you're not participating in the drama, they want to work you up to it. I've been a victim of it myself as a streamer, and I try so hard to avoid that drama with, especially with other creators. I will say stuff from time to time, but lately, it feels like, what am I doing? because I only want to talk about true crime and not the drama of it all. And I don't want to have these damn creator wars and stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, Rachel's Ashley Banfield's done some great coverage in the Bahamas. She went down to the Bahamas. She's covering the hooker investigation with Lynette and what's his name, the drunk couple. She's down there getting some great footage on that. I have watched those videos when I've sat outside quietly. Just I'll watch them just because I'm curious. You know what I mean? I can't get there yet that lady didn't fall off by accident, but I'm not there that she did either. So I have watched those videos. They're pretty informative. Simi, you don't like Ashley, but you love you some Nancy. Yeah, some people love Nancy and some don't, right? But honestly, I feel like sometimes coming out on YouTube, you are expected to participate in the drama. And when you don't, then you're not really informed. You know what I mean? You don't know anything because you won't. I don't want the drama. Well, bring the facts. I know where the drama's at. Trust me. I know every time somebody finds out something was said about them, they feel like they got to address it. It's drama. Out multiple channels for multiple reasons. It's drama. Sunflower, Ashley and Brian will never bring speculation, just facts. Well, they bring sources now. They do bring source information. But yeah, I get you. I get it. Look, there ain't no YouTubers got more information than what a mainstream media person's going to get. They don't have the same resources to get to the sources, right? So we have to refer back to our mainstream media partners to get relevant information because I don't see too many YouTubers getting the relevant information. A few will get some good interviews here and there, but they're not getting that the FBI sources and the source information locally, right? Like Ashley and Brian would be able to do. So you can't not go look at some of that stuff sometimes. Dolphin, you're still trying to catch up. Binge watcher, just put her on and let her roll. How many videos she done? 3 or 4? It was nice to be able to see the surrounding, to see the Marsh Harbor, and to get that feel for that visual of the surroundings there. The other boat captains that came on and talked about what the seas really were like that night. But right now, I don't know what happened in that case. I know what I have seen is 2 messy adults living a very messy life, and now a very bad situation has occurred, and we don't know who to believe. And I can't just say, well, the wife is gone, he had to do it. To me, that's too easy. I could sit here for 2 weeks and go on and on about that Brian Hooker done killed his wife, but we don't know. I have to take into account she was drunk. If I don't, I'm not critical thinking. If I just run with, yeah, he had to push her off, they can't even find her body, y'all. I'm not so sure she ever got on the dinghy. I'm waiting on that kind of information to come. Because if she got on the dinghy with him and they set sail out to the big boat and they're both drunk off their ass, I don't know what happened. I can tell y'all, I don't like the alcohol in these messy adult situations with all that drinking. Because too many things can go bad, right? Too many things can go wrong. And then when something happens, it's like, oh my God. He had a good boat captain. Yeah. Joe Schmo deserved it because I saw all the bullshit he was doing behind the scenes and not addressing the situation with Kresha. You don't do that shit on my watch. Now I will do that in a heartbeat to somebody. But the petty bullshit high school drama they're all participating in, no ma'am, I will not be a part of it. I got accused one time of being that salty in the Sebastian Rogers case. Like, what the fuck you talking about? That wasn't even me. It's a different salty, and I wasn't the one to wreak havoc in Sebastian Rogers, honey. That was literally you. But thanks for trying to throw shade at me when it wasn't me, it was you. Okay? Enough of that. I'm not doing their fucking drama. I'm not too. I'll cuss and discuss all day long, but I ain't doing your fucking little creator war drama. They all suck. You can only listen to me. Oh, let me drop my cat. Hold on, my Cash App is coming. Mods, mods, drop all my links, please. I can't. Oh, Lordy. Well, her alcohol level, considering the people that served them that day, she was pretty intoxicated. Hell, her daughters come out and people have talked about all the drinking those two would do. But if you go and review some of the videos, Dolphin, you'll see the receipts on the drinks that day. They're there. I wouldn't call her drunk if I didn't see a receipt on it. You know, I mean, that's a bad assumption to make about somebody. That's an assumption. I based that on what I saw in videos I was watching from Ashley Banfield and others who brought the receipts from the day. That's where I'm taking that information from, directly from those people. It wasn't like she wasn't drinking and her husband was. It wasn't that way at all. Yes, her daughter talked openly about it. About their drinking and their fighting. And Lynette herself was the one taken into custody once on a domestic violence charge, not her husband. It's all there. It's all there. So I'm saying it's a very messy situation before y'all go jumping on he did it. Really go in with an open mind and critically evaluate what you see and consider it. It has to be considered. Now, is it sketchy? Dude bailed out of the Bahamas already? Talking about I got an emergency at home with my mama? Yeah, that's sketchy as hell. But I can't get there yet that he did something. I need more. Right, Sunflower. There's so much with these cases. I don't want to cover the drama. In fact, I need to try to get them 35 documents downloaded in the Kepner case as well, because we got to review that stuff as well. I think the grandson and son are going to be gone all weekend, so if so, it's going to be me here, and I'll pop off with some lives, because we got to get caught up on some stuff. Yeah, Dolphin, you usually do go in with open minds. But I'm telling you, that case, there's just something's not right. I can't even with the sketchiness of the husband, what may appear sketchy, I still can't get there 100% yet. They were both willing to get drunk and both willing to physically fight with each other. So, yeah. And I got a problem with women in this age talking about, I can't quit him. I'm going to leave today, but I'm going to go back in a couple of days. I can't quit him. All right. Do you, sister? You got what last night? 35 documents. Did you download them, Dolphin? Did you get them from Plunder or did you get them off of Pacer? All right, guys. Y'all go have a beautiful Friday afternoon. I got a good weekend in store. I mean, I got a nice weather weekend in store here. Hopefully y'all do as well. Yeah, Dolphin, did you get them off of Plunder? Oh, okay, cool. I'd like to read some of them. Those little dinghies aren't fun to be on. Can you imagine being on one drinking? And yeah, I used to subscribe to her Patreon back in the Stefan Stearns case because I got a couple of documents from her, but I never did renew my subscription over there. But it's like $11, isn't it? If you do it and you get you can buy all the documents. Like I said the other day, I don't know which was cheaper, the $11 to get them from her or to get them all from Pacer. I think it's like 15 cents a page. I don't know. I was looking the other day. I just haven't downloaded them yet. But we'll get to those as well. So we do got those cases to do. Like I said, there was a bunch of stuff dropped in the Koberger case from WSU. I don't know what's there, if it's even worth, what's worth There was a couple things I saw that were intriguing about finding that car at WSU and how they were patting themselves on the back about good find. Okay, you keep telling yourself that. Um, so we'll get to that this weekend. Like I said, there was some audio dropped. Brian Koberger's daddy. Y'all want to hear that real quick? I can't remember, Dolphin, if it's 7 or 11. I don't remember. It's been a minute since I was subbing up to her stuff. Like I said, I did back in the Stearns case, and then I never renewed after that because most of the time, documents are free, and most of the time, people share the documents because they're a matter of public record. But I understand the only way to get them is to pay for them through Pacer. So she's just trying to recoup some of that money, but I'm sure it's been recouped 1,000 times over. But it's public documents. But I don't know how much she's charging for the public documents at the moment. I think it was $11 if you weren't subbed. I think. I did go look the other day, but I didn't download them yet. Oh, goodness. I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything in the chat, guys. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all around this weekend. We'll get some more coverage going and get some of these other cases that we want to look at. I want to review that Timothy Busfield interview with his attorney. Some pretty wild stuff. The part of it I did listen to was wild, and I want to get you guys' take on it. So if I don't come back tonight with a live, which is a good chance I might, because there is a lot to cover, which maybe I will come back tonight and do one of these, and then one of these tomorrow. Ooh, okay. We'll get a game plan going, guys. We'll get a game plan going. Let's do that. Let's hear. So this audio was Brian Koberger's dad calling into the Moscow Police Department. Hold on. It's not long at all. Okay, let me get that up here.
Michael Kohlberger, in reference to Brian Kohlberger, Brian Christopher Kohlberger, Kohberger. Our home phone number here is 570-355-1332.
Oh, shit.
Brian did reside at 1630 North
I hope that just didn't get me in trouble. Damn it, man.
East Valley Road, apartment G-201, Pullman, Washington, 99163. What I'd like to know is about his apartment and the status. That's number one. Number two, if you cannot answer that question, I understand. If you could redirect us, 570-355-1332. Brian's phone is not accessible. You cannot access it or his email. Michael Kohlberg.
He was just calling and left a message. There's actually several voicemail messages that were left, not just from him, but from other people. Like, I think Plunder has all of that audio. But this, Connor just released that one. These were all recently gotten by FOIA request. And so his dad was calling about concerns about the apartment. But he gave out the phone number. Yeah. Well, that's their fault. They piss poor redaction it. I mean, I'm gonna give myself a headache. I'm going after Idaho. I'm not going after them for piss poor redactions. I'm going after you for not releasing fucking documents you claimed you were going to release on this man who killed 4 people that y'all apparently are protecting. I'm trying so hard not to go there, but I'm about to bust it wide open. Because something's wrong in Idaho 4. What the fuck are we doing, and why aren't we releasing the goods on Kohlberger? Why are we dropping breadcrumbs about everybody in Moscow, Idaho, but nothing on Brian Kohlberger? Tell me again why we got to do that. What is so precious about him? I'm over it and I'm done with it. And we already went through this in Delphi, and a lot of folks would not even pay attention to Delphi. They wouldn't even look at it because we were all blooming ass idiots. That's the man. I beg you to go pay attention and follow the documents. Now, that case was handled very differently than Koberger's. Koberger's being treated like the fucking little golden boy over here, and I'm done with it. Pennsylvania won't give out shit. Idaho won't give out nothing. But oh, here's some more of Dylan's text. Y'all have at it. Rip her a new one. What the fuck? It don't make no sense, and they're gonna piss me off. I don't even care if they redact shit anymore. Just get it out there. Don't be listening to the parents. We take away all the public right to review this case, then we take it away in every single case going forward. And we can't be doing that. We can't be doing it. Yeah, PA's not giving us nothing. They said, oops, time passed. What do y'all give us? 3 days? They have a law. They do not have the kind of broad sunshine law I have here in Florida, right? They got they have the worst sunshine law, I think. In Pennsylvania is one of those states that has the absolute worst. Because they were like, you only have so many days to request that body cam footage of his arrest. I'm pretty sure there were people who were putting in those FOIA requests from the minute he got arrested. Quit it. Yeah, I hope I don't get in trouble putting Let's call Koberger's dad up and say, hey, you care for comment? Probably give people ideas now. Don't do it, y'all. Don't tell them you heard the number here. YouTube finds out I did that later. They might come back and say, man, what are you doing putting out information about people? I didn't. I just played a video that was released during FOIA request. That's all. All right. So I'll go through that document drop and see if there's anything relevant in there that really needs to be brought out. And we'll talk about some of it, of course. And I'll figure out what I'm going to look at tonight when we come back on. And between the time I do come back on, I'll be looking for updates in the cases we're covering and following and see if anything else comes down. So yeah, you guys, thanks for tuning in today. Give us a thumbs up and all the things. We appreciate it. And let's see. I can call Mother. Dolphin, don't make me do it. I gotta wait. Hold on. Let me think. I don't want my name to show up on the caller ID. I got another phone. I can. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Sleuths never give out all of their information or their ways of their wicked ways. Let me just say that. I got my wicked ways about me too that y'all don't even know about. But I do it for all of us. I'm going in deep and I'm going in hard, and I'm going to try to pull out the facts each and every time. All right, guys. Thanks for being here. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Y'all go have a great weekend and keep the bell on because I'll be back and we'll get into the rest of this stuff. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you all for watching this here video.